happening?
I don't see you. I don't see if you gonna take off before I start. How y'all doing out there? Today's gonna be a fun class.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a little bit more orientation stuff, but we're gonna start right away with some foundational stuff. As I indicated in our previous classes and last year, this class is going to be about us actually working together. I was having a conversation today at the gym, and I was explaining to Sean, who we were working out, and I said, hey, are you aware of the things you can't control? Are you aware of the parts of yourself you can't see? Are you aware of the parts of your personality you don't actually dictate? And a lot of times we think our awareness awards us with self-control, but self-control is actually limited because we have limited awareness, right? And so because of that limited awareness, what we're going to do to start this class off right away is we're going to start putting tools in place and conversations in place and structure in place so we can help you see yourself. Please understand that when we help you see yourself, we're not embarrassing anybody. That's why the class is going to go private. It's not going to be public anymore because we want folks to focus on themselves, not focus on, if your mama's watching, your cousin watching, your auntie watching, your customers watching, right? We want to make this where this is for paid members only. This is the last free class, so we won't really put you on, we really won't allow you to, we really won't put the mirror in front of you right now. But the first class, we're going to start off with some finance today, a little bit of AI today, and then some insights. So before we get started, I want to share one thing. Before I get started, you have anything you want to share?
Go ahead.
Okay. I was hoping you share something so I could get this drink. I was trying to get that sippy. First announcement I want to make is that we found a new location, everybody.
Woo, woo.
Yeah, so we're moving to a really absolutely beautiful location. It's a few blocks away from here. It's closer to where old Kimball's used to be. The founders, the owners of the building, they gutted the whole building, and the place is absolutely beautiful for the bathrooms to the kitchen. We have a kitchen. We're gonna have a room we're gonna be working in a space that's imagine this size room, but without the obstacles. It's just a big, huge space, stage, lighting. It's gonna more or less feel like we're doing a big presentation or something, right? But we got the approval, and we'll be moving there at the beginning of March. And so shout out to William Nettles, who rented this space to us. William is a really dope brother. Like if you ever get a chance to meet that brother, not only is he very financially successful, very well accomplished, but he's also a person who cares about his community. And if he can help things move forward, I'm not sure, you won't see him out there marching, but if he can help things move forward, that's the kind of brother that we gotta also, if you ever see him, shake his hand and tell him thank you. With that being said, a lot of things will be different by the time we move to that building. A lot of structure will be different, but it's going to be pretty much 510 is going to be more of a workshop space than a class space because the goal is to help you see. I want to move us away from people in this class repeating what me and Cordes are saying, but don't own it contextually. And we want to give you guys ownership, as well as the main purpose of any great entrepreneur class is not to give you more knowledge, it's to improve your thinking. And you have to separate those two. For a long time, many of us kind of make them synonymous, and they're not. Knowledge is a tool of thinking, and entrepreneurship is a separate form of thinking, which leads me to this point, something I want to say before we get into the slides. So when we were on the break, I was working on some class structure stuff, and one of my frustrations was trying to highlight the difference between professional thinking and entrepreneur thinking. It's a big, big difference, right? So I said, you know what, I'm gonna have a session with AI. And so I asked ChatGPT, I said, let me ask you a question. In all of baseball, how many strategic moves are there in baseball? Like total, what's the strategic amount of moves in baseball? I said, all of baseball? I said, yeah, every position, from coaching all the way down to the water boy. how many strategies are there in baseball? And ChatGPT said, you sure you want to know that number? Almost like it was like, is that a question? I was like, yes, provide an answer. It said 2 to the 947th zero, which means 10 and then add 947 zeros times 2, which means infinite moves in baseball. I said, so in baseball, there's infinite strategical moves in baseball. So then I asked, so in business, it must be insane. No, then I asked a question. I said, so if there's infinite amount of moves in baseball, what would happen if baseball every day had new players entering the game, new players leaving the game? Every day, new strategies are being introduced, new boundaries are being introduced, new rules are being introduced, new referees are being introduced, crowd sizes are shrinking and enlarging, different people are participating in the practice, politics got involved, it became national as far as some of the political responsibilities. ChatGPT said, well, if that's the case, you cannot think about baseball in the context of strategies. You got to think about baseball in the context of optionality. Because strategies would change so fast that if you try to look at baseball through recipes and strategies, there's no way you would be successful because things are always changing. That's what an entrepreneur is. There is no strategy. It is constant learning because things keep changing. You don't arrive. As a matter of fact, it says to be good in baseball, if those things were true, you would have to be very, very comfortable with randomness, constant change, being adaptable, and having the ability to maintain options. So not narrowing down to just one choice, meaning that because things may change tomorrow, I want to do this, but if that doesn't work, I can do this, and that. And you couldn't be able to say, well, now what's the 6 steps? Think about it now. Now think about how weird it sounds when we say the 6 steps to success, the 10 steps to success, the 5 techniques and mysteries and secrets of success. Now you see how stupid that shit sounds? It's not possible. It doesn't mean anything. When a person says there's 10 steps to success, they're playing on your brain. Okay, so when a person hasn't achieved success, many of us think there's some secret that you just need to know. And once you inherit this secret, oh my God, you will be on your pathway to success. There isn't. Those of us who are achieving success often are doing things that are boring, invisible, not cited by athletes, entertainment, social media, music, whatever. A lot of those things are also practices. It's not that we learn something, it's our way that we practice. Because our practice allows us to reinvent ourselves so often, it allows us to take advantage of opportunities that may land on our desk. Even the ability to see. So on our retreat, Brother Court here had a moment where he was talking to one of the other brothers about why defense is dangerous. And as he started to highlight some of the issues around defense, what we don't realize is when you practice defense, you don't realize you shut down your ability to see offensive opportunities. So if you're trying to master the art of seeing options, you got to learn how to play offense. But for people who's been oppressed and been fighting for our life and been fighting for resources, who've been under invested in, who've come out of the system of slavery and Jim Crow, quite often it's kind of easy for us to be more defensive. Most human beings by default are more defensive. Why? Because defense saves your life. If you're out in the woods and you're just playing offense, you're going to be some animal's food. So you have to have defense. Matter of fact, your brain is trained to hear defense and respond much more aggressive than offense. But for entrepreneurs, we have to have both sides. And so often, if you're playing this game called business, there's certain state of minds you have to adopt to stay in this game. It's not secrets and techniques and tricks and hidden things somebody didn't tell you, and the Illuminati and the secret Masons and the secret sorority and fraternity. No, that's not what it is at all.
Hey, I was watching this thing about how there was a study done with a couple and babies. The average man, when the baby cries, man stays asleep. But the woman is wired to get up. That's me. But the average man, if there's leaves ruffling outside, men's wired to get up and a woman stays asleep. It's because it's not knowledge in that point. It's how are you wiring yourself in terms of ways of thinking. And that's the goal of this class is how can we wire ourselves to think a certain way so the world, we respond in certain ways that are entrepreneurial, that make sense from an entrepreneurial perspective, not the rest of the world's perspective. How can we wire our minds? And yes, we need knowledge, but we mostly need wiring. And so that's why I'm hell of excited about this year, because we're going to take all the experience and all the things that we've done up until this point and tweak it in ways to where you have ownership. We put the ownership in your lap more. So where, like, if we come back and say, hey, have you guys listened to the podcast or have you read the books? And we start quoting stuff from it and we start asking you things in it, don't say you read it. You got to go make that happen, because it's in your hands. We already read it. Not only have we read it, we already have put it to use, because if it wasn't useful for us, we wouldn't even be suggesting it. So the ownership's on you to absorb it into your system so that it becomes part of your wiring in here, not up here.
That's well said. So with that being said, let's get into the first slide real quick. How many guys got a chance to watch the podcast? Just raise your hand, first of all, or listen to the podcast. 1,
2.
Shakita's hand was almost touching the ceiling. 2. Okay, so let's go over this real quick about the podcast. Online also, check online and see how many people are actually online. Let me know if you had opportunity to read the podcast. There is some common patterns that entrepreneurs possess that don't look at entrepreneurship as a degree that would hang on your wall. Don't look at it as a book that you read. Irrelevant. I promise you I will make that argument so well throughout the year. Doesn't mean that those books should not be read, because they should be read. But it's not enough. I know so many people who've read more than me, Cord, and everybody in this room, and they still struggling to figure out how to find resources. Entrepreneurs have this invisible group of habits, and this is how you would sometimes know who they are. Well, I'm not gonna get to all the habits. I wanna highlight 3 of the habits. It's 8 major habits that most entrepreneurs have. You could say these habits are constantly producing, almost like churning out an outcome. And one of the skills that entrepreneurs are known for is time allocation. They're so good at making time for things that are very important for them. They don't run through the week being reactionary and trying to solve whatever is valuable, but they make time out. They look at how to manage time. So what do you mean by managing time? So for example, let's think about, if you was to sit down and go, how much time are you spending in traffic? How much time are you spending washing dishes? How many times are you spending doing boring chores in your lifetime? You know what's the difference between me and you? Is I use that time to study. You may use that time to work. If I'm in the car for a long time, I'm not listening to music the whole time. I'm going to actually listen to material that can allow me to leverage my time to gain more resources. Not spending that time in that vehicle, I just need a break. I just need to bump this music. And it doesn't mean I don't have times when I listen to music, but I promise you, most of my boring time is filled with learning time, whether it's audiobooks, podcasts, whatever. Trust me, over time, that compounds tremendously. Another habit, a lot of entrepreneurs, they learn to focus. Let me tell you what's happening. Currently in society right now, most people have a horrible focus problem, really bad focus, because social media is stealing focus from Americans, like left and right? I can't speak for other countries, but our deep focus area is trash. I don't know about any of you guys, but anytime you work on deep work, it requires a certain group of rituals to get you to a space, to go into this space where you can just really lock in and really digest information and take that information and compare it to other information to produce a different outcome. So for entrepreneurs, we've mastered how to create deep focus time. The third thing is entrepreneurs pay for information. We're always buying information. If you were to look at the amount of money we spend on information and the much amount of time we spend spending engaging information, I mean, that's kind of why you're here. You're spending time, you're spending money to gain information. But you'll find sometimes when the price gets to a certain point, you start saying, I don't know. And I ain't talking about those MLMs or those, if you want to get rich, take my course, all that shit's trash. I hate all that stuff. I'm talking about when you identify what information you need to learn, are you taking those courses? Are you reading those books? Are you studying that material? Or do you feel the gods of success and the angels of success somehow that you pray to every night is just one day going to drop success in your lap? Because that's the only other option you must have. And so if you're not allocating that time, don't assume, okay, here's one thing you have to do at the beginning of this class. Remove your value from your journey. Your value, you're valuable. I don't give a shit what you're doing right now. I don't give a shit if you're digging a hole in the garbage, in the middle of your lawn, or if you outside picking up trash, or whether you run a major corporation, you're valuable. But if you tie your value to your growth, you will destroy your growth. Mm-hmm. They're not the same thing. Mm-hmm. They're not. You have to. If I tell you right now, your idea is absolutely stupid, don't hear none to call me stupid. You're not stupid. An idea could be, I create dumb ideas all the fucking time. I told people over this whole break, call me stupid. You know why I call myself stupid? Because it's going to accelerate my learning. But I know personally, my personal value is untouched. So in this process of this class, you're going to have to understand that you can't start to think you're good enough and you being good enough is going to take you to success because you're a smart person. You're making it too personal. Don't make this journey personal. Realize whoever you are, look at your bank account and say, this is where I want to be. Look at what you're working on and ask, this is where I want to get to. Look at your lifestyle and say, am I comfortable with this? If this is what you have, then I'm not talking to you. But if you're trying to grow for whatever reason, whether it's for your personal self, whether it's for your family, whether it's for your great-great-grandkids, whether it's for the community, whatever you're trying to grow, separate your personal value from your individual accomplishments, because it's not a reflection of whether you fail or win. Because growth is volatile. You're going to go up and down, up and down, up and down, right? But when you're down, you're not down. You just made a mistake. That's it. Everybody in this room is highly valuable, and nobody in this room gets to tell you that you're not. But once you tie the two together, I promise you it's going to fuck up so many decisions, because quite often you're not making a decision about the thing you're working on. You're making a decision about, will this make me valuable or not?
Hey, so remember this, because that's a great point. So with that information, this is what you deduce from it. You are not your business. You are not your business. You have a business. So when you get clear in your mind that you are not your business, then that can allow you to take your business, play with it, adjust it, tweak it, even throw it in the trash without you feeling devalued. You ain't your business. So if somebody attacks it, doesn't like it, sends you bad reviews, it doesn't touch your soul. Oh, they gave me a bad review. I mean, fuck them. No, that means you're so intertwined with your business. Your personal value is so connected to your business that if something bad happens to your business, it's like something bad happened to you. It's like the video game where if you die in the video game, you die in real life. You got to be able to disconnect, because you can build another business. Your business can crash and burn, but you still are the commodity. You still are the value. And so if you're a beginner entrepreneur, or even if you've been in the game for a while, sometimes somebody hasn't brought that to your attention. You're not your business. So guess what? If it took an L, it took an L.
You didn't.
You didn't take an L. It took an L. What can I do to get better? And that's an important distinction.
So imagine if everybody in this class right now, listened to the podcast and folks had questions, things they wanted to talk about, things that they excited them, things that they questioned. Could you imagine how the next 30 minutes of this class would run? You would be involved. We would hear you. We can talk to you. But if you don't listen to podcasts, things like this is going to force a monologue because we have to fill the space, right? So we need you guys to participate in the process. And through the process, what it does is it allows us to stay engaged. So I'm not going to give a podcast out next week. Do me a favor. Grab that podcast that was sent out to you by Sydney that was also sent with a follow-up text. Go listen to it because also the podcasts are going to be important because we're curating these podcasts. We're not just going, ooh, here's a podcast. But if we're going to spend more time working with you, then we need you to outsource some of the listening, the monologue to the podcast so we can actually spend the time in this class discussing it. And because a lot of times some of this information, when you hear it, when it's new and it's changing you, it's not easy to process. Going from Nana East Oakland poor kid to Nana wealth building was painful. It was not like, oh, this is better. Oh my God. There was things that was good for me and I was arguing the whole time. Oh, this shit's stupid. Hell nah. It's some old white people shit. This is me. Even with my money, I was telling somebody the other day, when I first made $1 million, the bank came to me and said, what are you doing? Now, my wife was always asking me, what are you doing? I was like, what are you talking about? I got $1 million in the bank. What's up? She said, babe, it's in a checking account. I said, yeah, but savings ain't give me no interest. She just took a deep breath because she knew that I don't feel like arguing with you. So what happened was the bank showed up at my door. Hey, we've been assigned you as banker. We looked at your account. What are you doing? I said, what are you talking about? They started showing me different ways how my money can make money. And I was like, oh my God, I had no idea, right? And when they first told me, you think, okay, so once they showed you, you just go to the bank and start taking your money out your account and put it in these investment opportunities and start diversifying? No, I said, I don't know about all that. Because I hadn't domesticated risk yet. I was still scared. I had a poverty version of risk, and I had to learn how to develop the wealth version of risk. And once I was able to develop the work, which took me 3 years, people, 3 years for me to go, okay. And then once I finally got it by reading hella books, doing a hella studying, I took off running as fast as I could. You see where I'm going with this? So what I'm saying to you is that don't think this journey is going to be all ahas and happy moments. It's going to be many days of friction and frustration, but the friction and frustration is what's actually going to make you, if you can weather that storm, that's how you know you're meant to be on this side of the fence. If you say, I don't want to deal with all that, that's fine. It's not an insult to you, but everybody's not meant to be entrepreneurs. Being an entrepreneur is not a superior role, it's a different role. Just leave it there. If you put the word inferior and superior, what's going to end up happening is you'll find yourself playing status games. It's not a status game. This is not you're not getting more status in society. You're not going to get more girls. You're not going to get more guys. You're not going to become more popular. Entrepreneur is just a different animal. And can everybody in this room become entrepreneurs? Yes, they can. But just don't think that if you are organically a product of your community, you're made to be an entrepreneur. You're probably not. You're probably not. Trust me, it's so different that once you learn to walk this path, it's almost like you can hear every sound now. like you used to be able to just hear certain sounds. Now you're hearing ants arguing shit. You're hearing roaches like fuss about who this is my hole. You're like, I don't want to hear all this. It's like as you start to tune your brain differently, you see things you couldn't see before, and then you have to learn how to calm that down, let certain things go. You have to almost become more stoic so you don't end up finding yourself drinking, smoking, or doing some other weird stuff.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know there's 4 people online that did do the podcast as well.
Okay, so tell the 4 people, just hold on to next week because I want this to be a discussion around the podcast. So we're going to postpone the podcast discussion to next week. But the 4 people that did listen, I may think of a way so they can take lead because I want to highlight those who did take the effort. But it's so important, people, that this is the beginning of a new training. Do the work. I'm not gonna give you a lot of work. I'm not gonna flood your time with thousands of hours, but learn to allocate time or to control time to invest in self. That alone, even if later on you start just reading your own books that you're seeing progress from, or if you have, like, say, for example, let's say you're doing something in banking and you're studying for a finance exam, then that's different. long as you're using that time. I just want to train you to get into the habits of always investing in time in your growth and being able to measure that, see it, and monitor that. When you get to the point that it's just organic, you know the quickest way to lose weight, to gain weight? Anybody that's ever gained weight in this room, tell me if I'm lying. You could go to the gym. You could work out really, really hard. You can even hire a trainer. You can eat really, really well. But it's not the big stuff that will catch you. It's the snacks in between that you don't think about. Mm-hmm. So, and if you can just get comfortable, or you can get comfortable, it's 10 o'clock at night, I'm going to make this little dish right quick. Damn, I sure can have. Now it's 11 o'clock at night, you're still eating, right? And you get up and eat your breakfast, and then and it's just small things. And so what you'll find out is dieting is not sometimes the big stuff. It's a lot of little small stuff starts to have huge impact. This entrepreneur stuff, you have to manage and monitor your habits. And don't treat your habits as they just a reactionary behavior to the environment. Treat your habits as it's part of your tools to your growth. So lock in that podcast when you're washing dishes, when you're driving. When you drive home tonight, throw that podcast on. Mm-hmm. Right? Start the process. If you are working out the gym, turn the music off for the first hour while you're still warming up and listen to a podcast. And then when you get to the point you're exhausted, turn the music back on. Cool. Turn the music back on. Because maybe you need the music to get through that last 4 sets and your last couple of sets, whatever. But learn to put that podcast in. You're washing dishes, you clean the house, you clean your car, you're working on your garden, whatever you're trying to do, try to put that podcast in that space. And you'll see if you keep doing that, the first year, you'll feel a little bit more intelligent. Your conversations become a little bit more richer. By the third year, watch how your brain works. Mm-hmm. You have a different brain. You'll start seeing things moving, having conversations, meeting people because your familiarity will allow you to be in conversations you weren't able to be in before. So next slide. Okay, how many of you guys have an AI account? Raise your hand. 1. Okay, is there anybody that doesn't have an AI account in here?
I don't believe in that AI stuff.
Okay, so is everybody paying for the AI account? Whatever, like one of them.
Yes.
Okay, everybody's paying for it? Okay, cool. Great. So when we start doing exercises in the next couple of classes, we're going to be integrating AI in a lot of our exercises because I want to. And the reason for this is not because I think you're not smart. It's because a lot of AI is being underutilized because of pattern recognition, meaning that you're so used to having patterns. So, for example, we all went on a trip to San Francisco yesterday, and at one point we were all walking, and I asked, "Are you guys sure you know where we're going?" And then somebody says, "Hey, I think we know. Do you know where we're going?" I said, "Don't we all got these little phones?" Like, meaning that we're so used to in pattern going, "Where we going?" when we all could have just did this. Where we going? It's that simple, right? We say, "Hey, what's the name of the place we're going to?" You guys think we're going the right direction or wrong direction, right? But instead, we get locked into ways we've been doing things for almost all of our lives. And so we're going to use this whole year to shift our patterns to use AI as a tool. AI is not a God. So what do you mean by God? Have you ever heard people say, "I don't mess with AI because it hallucinates too much"? You ever heard anybody say that before? Okay. Or AI sometimes gets shit wrong, so I really don't like AI that much. What you'll find is that, guess who hallucinates more than AI? Human beings.
Yeah.
And if AI can reduce your hallucination, it's a great tool. But if you expect AI to be perfect like God, then it's not AI is the flaw, it's your expectation is the flaw. There's no other God besides God. So AI is not meant to replace God. AI is meant to enhance your thinking and decision-making and some of your engagements, right? Mm-hmm. AI is a hell of a tool if you use it correctly. It's when you start to use it incorrectly, or you try to have it replace, or you try to use it to replace things you don't have ownership. For example, let's say you have it write a letter for you, but you don't really understand how the letter should be structured. You don't understand how to structure sentences to get your thoughts across. You don't even understand the person you're communicating to. You don't understand the context of the dialogue. AI doesn't fix it. It won't fix that for you. There's ownership you have. AI doesn't replace your thinking. It allows you to accelerate the use of your thinking. Mm-hmm. All right. All right, so with that being said, we're gonna start off with a video. Everybody has note-taking material? Everybody's cool? Why are you guys so quiet? Why is everybody so quiet? You got note-taking material?
Yeah.
Thank you, man. It's nice to hear your voice, man. Everybody okay out there? Jesus Christ. Okay, We're gonna put a video on. Hold on a second. Where's the remote? We're gonna put a video on. It's about 10 minutes long. I want you guys to take notes. This is the beginning of, we're going to start, and as you take notes, write down things you like, you disagree with, things that's impacting you, thoughts that came to mind, and we're going to let the microphone flow for a minute, okay? Because once again, this is about you more. It's more about you this year than it's about us. So hold on a second. Let me get back to home. This TV gets loud, by the way. I was going to hook it up to the speaker, then I was like, oh, this thing is amazing. Okay, let's see. Okay, so can I go to history? What's the history at? Music? Search.
You walk into the Apple Store. Your old phone is fine, but the battery's a little slow and the screen has a tiny crack. You convince yourself you need the upgrade. It's for work, right? It's a productivity tool. So you drop $1,200 on the new iPhone Pro Max Titanium. You walk out of the store feeling good. You feel successful. But then you get into your car and you look at the phone. It's sleek, it's futuristic, and suddenly your old frayed charging cable looks like garbage next to it. It feels wrong to plug this masterpiece of engineering into a $5 gas station cable. So you buy the new MagSafe charger. That's $40. Then you get home and you put the phone on your nightstand. But wait, your cheap plastic phone case looks ridiculous on this titanium device. You need the leather case. That's $60. And then you realize your old wired headphones are incompatible. You need the AirPods Pro to really get the full experience. That's $250. Within 48 hours, that $1,200 purchase has quietly turned into a $1,600 purchase, and you didn't even notice it happening. This isn't just you being bad with money. This is a psychological chain reaction that has destroyed more fortunes than the stock market ever could. It's a phenomenon that explains why winning the lottery often leads to bankruptcy, and why buying a dream house can turn into a financial nightmare. It is called the Diderot effect. My name is Bobby, and on this channel, we explore the invisible scripts that keep us broke. Most people think they buy things because they need them. Today, I'm going to prove to you that you buy things because your other things are demanding them. If you want to stop the spiral and actually keep the money you earn, smash that like button, and let's dive into the story of the man who lost everything because of a bathrobe. To understand why you can't stop spending money, we have to travel back to France in the year 1765. Meet Denis Diderot. He was a famous philosopher, the co-founder of the encyclopedia, and a brilliant mind. But despite his fame, Diderot was broke. He lived a humble life, he wore old clothes, he walked on old rugs, and he sat on a rickety wooden chair in a dusty library. And he was happy. He was content. But then, everything changed. Catherine the Great, the Empress of Russia, heard about Diderot's financial struggles. She was a fan of his work, so she offered to buy his library from him for a massive sum of money, roughly the equivalent of $50,000 today, while letting him keep the books. Suddenly, Diderot was rich. So what did he do? He did what any of us would do. He treated himself. He went out and bought a beautiful, expensive scarlet dressing gown, a luxury robe fit for a king. He brought it home, put it on, and looked in the mirror. He felt elegant. He felt wealthy. But as he sat down at his desk to write, he noticed something bothering him. The robe was magnificent, but his desk? His desk was scratched, rotting, and covered in ink stains. The contrast was painful. The desk didn't match the elegance of the robe. So he replaced the desk. He bought a beautiful mahogany writing table. He sat down again. Now the robe and the desk looked great together. But as he looked down at the floor, he realized his old threadbare rug looked like a rag compared to the mahogany table. It was an insult to the room. So he brought a plush, expensive Damascus rug. You can guess what happened next. The rug made the curtains look cheap. He replaced the curtains. The curtains made the chair look like firewood. He bought a leather armchair. He bought new paintings, new sculptures, new mirrors. He spent months obsessing over the unity of his room. He systematically replaced every single object he owned until the entire environment matched the quality of the scarlet robe. And at the end of it, Dennis Diderot was broke again. He later wrote a famous essay titled "Regrets on Parting with My Old Dressing Gown." In it, he wrote this haunting line: "I was the absolute master of my old dressing gown, but I have become a slave to my new one." This is the Diderot effect. The introduction of a new possession into a consumer's existence will often result in a process of spiraling consumption. We think we own our things, but in reality, our things own us. Now you might be thinking, okay, Bobby, that's a nice story about a French guy from 300 years ago, but I don't wear scarlet robes. How does this apply to me? It applies to you every single day. The Diderot effect is actually more dangerous today than it was in 1765, because modern marketing is designed to trigger it, weaponized precision. Let's look at the fitness identity spiral. Let's say you decide to get in shape. You buy a Peloton bike. That's a big purchase, maybe $1,500. You tell yourself, this is an investment in my health. But when the bike arrives, you realize you can't ride it in your old baggy cotton t-shirt and gym shorts from high school. You don't look like the instructors on the screen. You don't feel like a cyclist. So you buy the specialized cycling shoes, $150. Then you buy the moisture-wicking compression shorts, $80. Then you buy the branded tank top, $50. Then you realize the bike looks cluttered in your messy living room. You need to create a Zen workout space. You buy a yoga mat, some dumbbells, maybe a new smart TV to cast the workouts. Suddenly, you haven't just bought a bike. You have bought an entire identity. This is the core psychology of the Diderot effect. Identity consistency. As humans, we crave consistency. We want our external world to match our internal self-image. When you buy a high-status item, like a luxury car or a designer handbag, you are upgrading your identity. If you view yourself as a Honda Civic person, you're comfortable wearing jeans and eating at McDonald's. But if you stretch your budget to buy a Porsche, you have shifted your identity. You are now a Porsche person. And Porsche people don't wear scratched sunglasses. Porsche people don't have cheap IKEA furniture. Porsche people don't eat off paper plates. The car acts as the anchor item. It sets a new baseline for your entire life. And every other item in your life that falls below that baseline creates psychological tension. It feels wrong. So, to relieve that tension, you upgrade everything else. The car forces you to upgrade your wardrobe. The wardrobe forces you to upgrade your vacation spots. The vacation spots force you to upgrade your luggage. You aren't spending money because you want to. You are spending money to maintain coherence in your story. This is why the fake it till you make it advice is actually financially toxic. If you fake it by buying a Rolex before you can afford it, that Rolex is going to demand a suit, a car, and a dinner tab that will bankrupt you. Let's break down the math of the chain reaction cost. Most people calculate the cost of an item in isolation. They look at the price tag and say, can I afford this $500 item? This is the wrong way to think. You need to calculate the chain reaction cost. Let's take the classic example, home renovation. You decide to renovate your kitchen. You budget $10,000 for new cabinets. That seems reasonable. But once the new white modern cabinets are installed, your yellowish 10-year-old refrigerator looks disgusting. It works perfectly fine, but visually it clashes. It breaks the consistency. So you spend $2,000 on a stainless steel fridge. Now the fridge and cabinets are sleek and modern. But looking down, your vinyl floor looks cheap and dated. The contrast is unbearable. So you rip up the floor and put in hardwood. That's $5,000. Now the kitchen is a masterpiece. It looks like a magazine cover, but it's an open concept house. So when you stand in your beautiful new kitchen and look into the living room looks like a dump. The old brown sofa looks sad, the paint looks dull, the kitchen renovation has leaked into the living room. You end up painting the whole downstairs and buying a new sectional. The final cost? It wasn't $10,000. It was $35,000. The $10,000 cabinets were the scarlet robe. They were the anchor that made everything else look inadequate. If you had kept the old cabinets, you never would have noticed the floor. You never would have hated the fridge. You were happy with them before. The upgrade created the dissatisfaction. This brings us to a terrifying realization. Upgrades are often downgrades in disguise. When Diderot had his old robe, he didn't worry about ink stains. He used it to wipe his pen. It was functional. He was the master of it. When he got the new robe, he became terrified of ruining it. He became stiff. He lost his freedom. When you buy a brand new expensive white couch, you stop letting your friends drink red wine in the living room. You stop letting the dog jump up. You stop living in your living room because you are servicing the object. You become the curator of a museum, not the resident of a home. So, how do we stop this? How do we break a psychological pattern that is hardwired into our brains? We can't just live in a cave and never buy anything nice. That's not realistic. But we can build firewalls to stop the spiral. Here is my 3-step defense strategy against the Diderot effect.
Strategy number 1, predict the chain reaction. Before you buy any upgrade item, a new car, a new console, a new suit, you must pause and ask yourself, what else will this item demand? If you buy the PS5, will it demand a 4K TV to see the graphics properly? Will it demand an extra controller? Will it demand a subscription to PlayStation Plus? Write down the full system cost, not just the item cost. If the PS5 is $500, but the system cost is $1,500, can you afford the $1,500? If the answer is no, do not buy the anchor item. You are inviting a vampire into your house. Strategy number 2, the buy one, give one rule. The Diderot effect thrives on accumulation. We add the new thing, but we keep the old things, and then we try to make them match. You need to cap your inventory. If you buy a new pair of sneakers, an old pair must leave the house. Donate it, sell it, or trash it. If you buy a new toaster, the old toaster goes. This forces you to value what you have. It prevents you from building a shrine of possessions. It keeps you in the mindset of a user, not a collector. Strategy number 3, practice strategic downgrading. This is the nuclear option, but it works. Sometimes the only way to reset your baseline is to deliberately downgrade a visible part of your life. Drive a slightly older car than you can afford. Wear a watch that is simple and functional. When your anchor items are humble, you feel zero pressure to upgrade everything else. If you drive a beat-up Toyota truck, nobody expects you to wear a $2,000 suit. You have freedom. You can wear jeans. You can eat a burrito in the car. By keeping your status symbols low, you lower the required cost of the rest of your life. You create a low-maintenance identity. And let me tell you, a low-maintenance identity is the most profitable asset you can own. It allows you to stack cash while everyone else is busy curating their museum. Look, there is nothing wrong with nice things. I like nice things. But you have to understand the game you are playing. Consumerism is designed to make you feel incomplete. It is designed to make you feel that you are just one purchase away from happiness. But Diderot taught us the truth 300 years ago, that one purchase doesn't finish the puzzle. It scrambles the puzzle. It resets the board and forces you to start over. Don't be a slave to your robe, be the master of your life. If you want to know more about how to build real wealth that doesn't rely on showing off, check out this video right here where I break down the coast fire method we talked about last time. And if this video saved you from making a stupid purchase this week, hit the like button.
Pass the microphone around real quick. Get the microphone to the audience. All right, somebody just hold the microphone. So I want to hear anybody have any thoughts that came to mind. Let's have a group conversation. Let's go.
I would say this
Your microphone on?
Yep, it's on. It's on.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I would say this probably saved me like 2 bands for the next like month or so, because like I had recently got into golf like early last year, and I kept telling myself, I'm like, oh, I think I need a new putter. No particular reason why, other than I like seen a new one.
Yeah.
Even though mine is like fine, I'm hitting it, but for some reason I was like, I need a new one. Then it went to like, oh, I think I need a new driver. Or then I see my bag was dirty. I was like, you know what? I may want a new bag or something. And I just felt the effects of like wanting like, something new each time. So yeah, I thought this was very eye-opening to me. And it almost made me realize like how dangerous like social media is.
Oh, boy.
If you don't know this, because they continuously try to sell you things, like just put in your face, and then make you want to impulse like buy and shit like that. So
That's well said. Anybody else want to say anything or that comes to mind? Go ahead, Pastor Jordan. Yeah, just pass it around. Yeah, you go.
Man, I'm in this right now to a certain extent, like with a new car.
Yeah.
But it reminds me of like outsourcing happiness and outsourcing value. Like if you don't have it within, you'll find yourself trying to buy it, and it's like a never-ending rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was dope.
There's some online.
Hey, go ahead. What's this?
Vero said, this year I paid off all my personal debt. I found myself falling into old patterns and spending again. Had to take a pause and restart before it became a thing again.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else? Any other thoughts come to mind?
I have some.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, Jay, go ahead and you next. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Silence.
This I agree with everybody else. It's eye opening, and the other thing I'll say is it's so invisible. You know what I'm saying? Like as much stuff of podcasts as I've read, and as long as I've been in this class, I'm like, God damn, I fell for this motherfucker yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I appreciate it.
Right on. Go ahead, Shakina.
This podcast is the reason, like this little video is why we have to stay in class, right? Because no matter how many years that you're in the class, it shows you just how fallible we are and why we need reminders and touch points. So like I will read every podcast, book, and everything, but then I'll find myself in these conflicting situations where I have like 20 questions written down, and I was like, okay, but like, what's the difference between this and depreciation and attrition? And like, how do you stay up with understanding? And it's funny because at the end of it, he answered it, but it's just like, there's always like the devil and the angel on your shoulder being like, oh, this is the justification for this process, or this is an investment. Even if it is an investment, it's like, can you afford that investment? And is it the right time to make that investment? And if you don't have counsel around you, like reminding you of like, that's not saying that that's not down the line, but do you have the runway, the finances, the thought product, the systems to be able to support that? So it was just so dope to just like have the entrepreneur version of my brain running through this and like looking at, okay, I can see where this applies and this applies, but then the consumer version of my brain saying, yeah, that happened with my bathroom remodel and my front room remodel, and then I bought a whole new this and that. And so it just reminds me of like why I'm here every week. That iron sharpening iron.
For me, it made me think about credit and how our society was built on credit a lot, and we'll buy things that we can't necessarily afford if we're paying it off fully. And so with that, and then the hidden costs that they mentioned that you don't even think about ahead of time, and when you have this credit, you're able to kind of feel like you can use it a little more. Versus, I heard about this one story where someone puts away all their money to monthly to buy a car without having one, and then when they buy the car after 5 months of saving for a month, then every time they put the money away before they purchase the car, and then they purchase it cash. But yeah, if you're able to afford things, that's one thing. It is, I think, also good. You talk about Brother Nana too sometimes, that you got to take it to the next level, especially with your business and making sure that, you don't have crazy looking floors when you have clients coming in. But you have to be able to afford it. You can't just do it off of credit.
You know, it's so funny. Like just before the next person goes, I want to say this. A lot of my upgrades, when the first person first came out to do upgrades on my property, they had told me, the upgrades was going to be, I think she said the upgrade our office, it was going to be $160,000. Now, I had the money, but it was like, that doesn't make sense to me. As well as the reason why does it make sense? Because I'm not gonna be in the office for ever. I'm gonna move. So I literally drove down to San Jose, went to the used furniture store, found all the stuff I wanted at my line, Scott, and it was like, there you go, there you go, there you go, there you go, there you go. And the team's like, we should get this because now that we have this office, we should look like this. I said, if you can find it for me for half that price. Like literally, I didn't give a shit about anybody that saw is because I realized that's a trap. Going to your point, it's so easy to get caught in this vacuum of trap. But I'm gonna get into like even why I even chose this video after you guys get into this. So go ahead. Okay.
I just want to say I feel so attacked by this entire video. I'm so serious. Literally every example that they gave, like the beginning, I was like, let me think about something for me. And then it would say it. And then it would say it every single time. And I feel like I'm very financially responsible. Like I'm in real estate. I have a lot of like investments. I try to, like when I buy something, I try to say, if I can't buy 4 or 5 of these, like I don't need to buy it, except for a car. But this hit me like a ton of bricks. Like once I said I was gonna start running, but only like a little bit, because I don't need to lose any calories. So I was like, I'm gonna go buy some new running shoes, and then that turned into a whole bunch of running outfits, and then I bought a vest, and then these little bladder things, all the things, and I don't think I've run more than like twice. and it's literally like, that happens so often. Like I'm turning a room in my house into a gym, and because I don't go to the gym, so I said, let me put it in the house. But it's like spiraling. Like at first I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna get a squat rack. Now I'm like, I'm gonna get a sauna and a squat rack. And if I got this, I need to get these weights. And it gets like, you spiral so easy, and you have to like check yourself. And what Shakina said about having good counsel, like I think that that's so important, because otherwise you don't even notice yourself spiraling. At least I don't. Like even now, another thing that was in this video, my car got bought back, and so now I'm going to go get...
Congratulations, that was a nightmare.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a nightmare.
Yeah, so they bought the car back. So now I'm going to go get a Porsche, and I'm like, that's on the list too. But I'm just like, it's literally everything. But I already feel like I'm a Porsche person, so I don't think I'm going to do too much. But it's just...
It has so much power over you.
It does.
And then also, too, not only do you... here's the other thing that you don't realize, because I'm already talked to everybody about downgrading. I got that 7 Series, and I love the car, and I hate the lifestyle. Because if you ever, what's outside right now in my van? If you watch me throughout the week.
No optionality. You can't take the car nowhere.
You can't take the car nowhere. You can't, like literally, you can't go certain places late at night. You can't park everywhere. You literally are driving Target. If you get one slight scratch, you coming out the pocket differently.
Yeah,
insurance is a good piss if
point.
there's too many scratches or damages to your stuff, right?
Yeah,
so
that's how I felt with my last car.
Yeah. So there's so many different, the car is going to shift you more than you realize. And then especially the energy of the herd talking to you. And like when you have a certain kind of car, the way the crowd talks to you, it starts to like, you start to respond to that crowd, and before you know it, you become that person. It's a slow process. It's a pull, and it's such a powerful pull. It is not as easy. I thought, oh yeah, because like when I had the BMW 7X7, it was nice, but I was treating it like a regular car. I got the i7, I was like, oh, can't. And it's the worst experience. I can't take it to a car wash. Because car washes scratches, they scratch that kind of car. BMW says don't take it to a car wash, and it does scratch the car. Because I tried to take it to a car wash one time, and it was scratches. I had to take it to a detail shop to get the scratches taken off, right? So those cars become, you stop being a master of your things, and your thing starts to master you.
Yeah.
And that's a hard shift, especially when you need to be mobile, moving, making decisions, running up on people, going different places, parking your cars in all kind of crazy places to get to certain deals or
Driving the
certain
power.
opportunities. It's just, it catches you.
Yeah. I got some work to do.
She said, yeah. Anybody else?
I have-
Go ahead, Scott.
What came to me was, man, the credit cards really get you to come back in. Like, I got a notice recently, and they were like, you haven't used this credit card. You got 50 days to use this credit card. I don't have a lot of cards, but I was like, I don't want you fucking up my credit, man. Like, you know, they judge by how many cards, yada, yada, yada. So I was like, my mind just started spinning, like, what am I going to spend this on? What, should I buy this? Should I buy that? Should I get this thing? And I was stressing for like a week and a half. And then one day we went to Bicycle Coffee, me, James, Murph, and Shama. I was like, you guys, I'm buying coffee. And I put it on the card and I was like, I'm done. I'm about to pay this little $10 and fuck you. And I'm going to keep it moving.
Anybody else before we jump into a more of a macro discussion?
Can I just share?
Yeah, go ahead.
There's 3 comments online.
Love to hear them.
So Sid said, first thing that came to mind was how Apple specifically is great at getting their customers into this pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And then Evolving-ish says, knowing you belong, but now needing to look the part. And then Tavita said, I'm considering my relationship to money and the use of money and my value.
That's nice. That's nice. That is actually at the heart of all this, is pulling your value away for your money. Okay. How many of you guys have under $300,000 in the bank? Just nobody can see you on camera. Make sure that the camera's just on me. If you have under $300,000 in the bank, okay. How many of you guys have under $500,000 in the bank? Okay. Of that 500,000, is that 500,000 in checking? How many of you guys have at least $100,000 in investments? Raise your hand. Okay. How many? And it's like, and we're talking about the market, no company stocks, just market stocks. So you guys have over $100,000 in the market. That's like S&P, or you're investing in a certain company. Both of you guys, okay. How many of you guys are investing more than $200,000 in the bank so far? And got investment $200,000 in the market. How many people drop more than $1,000 a month in the market? Not the stocks, but just drop $1,000 into the market. Not 401ks. Just drop $1,000 in the market. So let's be totally transparent here, because this is a lesson. This is not. Trust me. I'm trying to give you guys something that. I'm trying to give you guys wealth. This is because whether you know or not, all you guys have access to wealth. Everybody in this room has access to wealth. And there are going to be a lot more videos like this coming. We're going to, like these short videos we're going to watch to kind of grow our relationship to the rhythms of wealth. And wealth doesn't mean you make wealthy a lot of money. If you have wealthy habits, not only will you have a hell of a retirement, but you will set your children's up with a lot of money, right? So next question is, how many of you guys were building a business to grow your savings? Like if I said, okay, like you talk about grow business growing, what do you think about I'm gonna grow to stack money to have more money in the bank? How many of you guys was doing that? Anybody? All you got, so pass the microphone. What were you building a business for as far as money? Move the microphone around. Yeah, decided you might as well just go and get used to lose some weight tonight, baby. We won't keep everything. Just give somebody a mic. Just give the microphones. Let people just move the microphones organically.
What's
just real
the question?
quickly. When you vision yourself making money, what was your vision of what that looks like as you're growing? Like millions of dollars in the bank, or what were you thinking? Like what was your idea of growth of money?
I ain't gonna lie, when I first started, I wasn't thinking about none of that. I was just doing it I guess probably to quit my job at the time.
First of all, bruh, thank you for that fucking honesty. Because honesty is how we all gonna grow. Like us trying to play certain roles. If we can take the status out of this classroom and just get into pure honesty, we're gonna become dope as fuck. And that right there is just to start the whole class off. Yo, love you for that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so like only probably like recently I really started thinking about, okay, why am I doing this now? Like what's, because I got kids, so I'm like thinking about what can I leave for her, and like really trying to figure out now how to really put the money aside, the whole business of video and photography. Like I literally just started even thinking about that. Before that, I was just making money, doing what I want to do. I quit my job, so just really just going.
Okay. Anybody else? Somebody take the microphone. Tell me what's your goal with your money and your business. Let's go. I want folks grab the microphone. This ain't a place to be shy. This is a place to like work some shit out. Let's go. Go ahead. You want?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
You hear me? Okay. I think for me, a lot of it is freedom in terms of getting out of my like tech job. But in terms of like where I think about allocating money is very much into like my real estate investments and the existing like stock portfolio that I have. Yeah, I think like when I think about like where I would put the money, like those are what I.
Why are we going to real estate investments and stock?
Well, I've been into real estate and like making my portfolio bigger for the past few years, but my mom has always been really big in real estate, so I think it's just kind of been ingrained, like it's just kind of been around growing up, so I think that's
perfect.
That's a big part of it.
God, I love you guys tonight. First of all, the hardest thing for people to talk about is their finance. Have you ever noticed that? Like, when's the last time you've been hanging out with dudes, they just be like, let me talk about my finance. I think, so for y'all to show up in this class and trust us with this conversation means everything. Everything. So, thank you as well. That was dope, what you just shared. Whether you know or not, that was super dope. Anybody else? And we're going to work on stuff throughout the year. Nothing in this class is designed to attack anybody. At the end of the year, if I don't make you stronger with your money, if I don't make you stronger with your business, I failed. So if you ever sense I'm attacking you, pull me to the side, because especially in this space here, my job is to be as respectful but also supportive and bring math and equations and techniques to the table to help you manage your resources totally different than we've been exposed to. Go ahead.
I just was curious why you mentioned that we shouldn't count like company stock or equity. Do you feel like we shouldn't count that in?
Oh, no. It's because I'm looking for your habits. It's still valuable. My wife got hella money because of fucking, y'all stock is real. I'm not discounting that, but also she didn't realize she better diversify, because the level of volatility of one company is way different than the level of the like S&P 500, which is the top 500 companies, right? And there's we're going to talk about a lot of different techniques around, even real estate. It's a math equation to investment in real estate. Investing at the wrong time is trash. There's a 5% math, which we'll get into later on in future classes. But the reason I want us to have a conversation, so that also lets me know what material to bring to class, because what I want to do is I want to introduce the information from a learning perspective and relieve the stress more than make you feel shame. Remember I said this year I want to remove shame from this class. So the reason I wanted to remove the individual stock is because sometimes 401ks and which is passive investment, is still not ownership of your journey. It's kind of like the benefit of the job supporting you on that journey, which the state now requires after so many employees, we have to provide investment opportunities for you. But at some point, if you want to take charge of your future yourself and have more agency, then what are you doing specifically? So that's kind of where the conversation was going. Anybody else want to highlight what they plan on doing with their business? Pass the microphone. Okay.
Yeah, I'll just go real quick and then for me, I kind of look at it as two parallel tracks, two of my personal and then the business. And initially, I'm personally, in some ways, kind of working per hour and just getting paid for my time. And at the same time, investing in the business. So any time that I have extra money that I put into the business. So ideally, over time, the business will be able to generate its own equity that I'd be able to cash that in later. At the same time, being able to personally put aside some investments, probably a little smaller, because of investing in the business and making that the main thing. So ideally, that again comes creates the equity of all the time and effort that I'm putting into it. But I am trying to learn about not kind of exchanging money for time and getting into understanding more the passive income so that it can be spread and having multiple revenue streams and not just, again, exchanging my time for income.
Okay. Anybody else? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll say similar to the brother over there. When I got into business, it was just I kind of just making money. That was the only idea that I had, obviously. And then
Me too, by the way.
yeah,
I'm not gonna try to act like I was some. I didn't walk into this game like, oh, I know. I wish I really knew who the fuck I was when I first started. But go ahead.
yeah. So as I got into it, became more intentional. Like, okay, let me create savings. Let me create cushion because rainy days happen in this business. I can go weeks, months without making money. Let me set that to the side. Okay, I got debt. Let me take care of that. All right, let me start investing. All right, let me start investing in my business and in investments as well. And so it started to, the meaning or the intentionality of the business money started to gain traction as I got a better understanding. And so now it's just building on top of that. So that's where I'm at now.
Okay.
Can
Anybody
I?
else? Go ahead, Kaja.
One of the things I really am prioritizing with the things I'm doing is joy. I'm no monk, and I need money. I got bills like everybody else, but for some reason, it just never was my primary motivator outside of the fact that I have a day job, but it was experiential. Like, what did I want my life to feel like, and what did I want to be doing? Because the hardness of entrepreneurship, money wasn't going to be a thing that would carry me through that. If I was not enjoying it, if I didn't get some joy out of it, even if there was money attached to it, I was either not going to do it or I was not going to do it to my best effort. So to me, I don't know how to quantify that in a dollar because most importantly is I needed to contribute some kind of joy to my life.
So that podcast I put out, please listen to that. It literally, am I lying, Shakina? You just literally, that's the whole podcast is about happiness and joy.
Yes.
So when you listen to that, I want you to be the first one to start the class off next week on the podcast. You started off because you literally, I couldn't, it felt like you did this on purpose or like you just like, okay, cut, like I hired you like, okay, now you ask this question, right? But your question is so, it's literally priming the podcast so well. I couldn't ask a better question. So I want you to take lead and like what you got from listening to it and processing it. And let's start off from your insight, because I think your insight is so important. And by the way, that's a very powerful discussion if you continue to pull the layers off of it. What you said is it's not your issue with joy. It's very, very human what you just brought up, and all of us are dealing with it at different scales. Just many of us haven't discovered that those words and how to highlight those things. So, excellent point, excellent question. So you're taking lead. You're taking lead on this class. Go ahead. Anybody else before we jump into this a little bit further?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. No, Silas, go ahead. Then go on the line. Silas, go ahead.
Yeah, I was doing freelance for a while, and I think that initially starting the business, like formalizing the business, was to stop the check, to live in check to check, and maybe create a cushion with the income that was coming in, but I think it was trying to monetize what I've been, like my passion, my art, and all the things that we've talked about. But as the years have been going, we're in our 5th year of business, and I think that it's still a learning, it's still constantly learning and trying to figure out the things to help trying to scale and grow and and set goals, like financial goals beyond everything that we're doing.
First of all, once again, I love all of this. Shakina, go and trust me, all of you guys, this is so, because if I really know how we're processing it, I can show up to you, get your information, and then when you guys get information from this class, do me a favor. don't ever say, Nana in court told you, duh, 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 duh. Take this class, write your notes down, and if you say, I don't know, or I agree or disagree, go research it. Research it like almost as if you're a lawyer trying to prove something is right and wrong. Because what happens is through your research, you will gain ownership. And because when you're dealing with finance, if you don't have ownership, you're not going to manage risk very, very well. Like you could talk all that shit you want, but when you set the counter of risk and you don't have ownership, you're going to fail to engage. Go ahead, Yapasua. Oh, so no. First of all, let me get Shakina with the online. Go ahead, Shakina with the online.
Daphne said, I didn't have money goals in the beginning.
She didn't have none of those goals in the beginning?
She didn't have money goals in the beginning.
Fire. Man, I don't think you understand how this is important that we have this conversation. This vulnerability means you're ready to, you can learn. It's if you walk around like, oh no, I got this. You're the person I'm worried about. like this finance shit is really a lifelong journey of behavior meets math. It's really behavior meets math. And even what you say, I'm thinking about this is what my mother did and this is what I'm doing, I'm going to show you some challenges on that. But the challenges I want to show you is to give you the power to be the new author for the next generation that will follow you, right? And that's why I want to empower us to be the leaders for the next generation and even teach them how to think about it. Because some of the ways we think about stuff is coming from a people who suffer financially, and we're still holding on to ideas and thoughts that will cause us to suffer similar to the way they suffered or reduce our personal growth. Go ahead, Shakina.
That's the last for online, but can I share mine?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, please.
I was writing down how in a class like this it's so easy to suffer from hindsight bias. And like when I started my business, I was in scarcity. I didn't have any goals but to put away as much money as possible so that I could provide for my daughter. And like there was no like, I'm gonna get rich off of this or anything crazy. I was just like, I live in the hood. I'm surrounded by drugs and chaos. I love my daughter and I wanna provide a safe future for her. And as I grew and I got exposed to more knowledge, the goalpost kept moving. But I didn't like come into it with this grandiose plan or even have a single clue as to if I would be profitable or survive or be on to the next thing. And I think that it's so easy to like fake it till you make it when you come to a class like this because you feel like you're supposed to have the right answers. And it's like most of the people that build the dopest things had no freaking clue what they were doing. But we get so caught up on the highlight reels of what does it look like to be successful and what are all of the right things to say. And then you shoot yourself in the foot because you miss all these pieces because you're focused on the shiny object syndrome. So like I didn't have any just survive and grow and have a reserve of money. I didn't even think about saving. I couldn't afford my day-to-day life. So like even just thinking about like maybe you're not as compromised as that when you started, but like I took like 6 vacations this year. And that was poor money management too, by the way. Like I sat down and did my numbers and I was like, could I afford those trips? Yes. But I just planned 4 more trips this year and I feel like I'm spending above my pay grade because I can afford it, but each nice trip that I take was leading to another big thing and another big thing. And my thing was like, me taking these trips makes me feel good because I told myself this story that I deserve it because I finally worked for this. And what it's taking away from me is my optionality to invest into my business in the future, to invest into stocks, to put money away for my kid to go to college because I want to take a $20,000 trip because I can afford it. And so like, I just feel like there's so many levels to it, but it started off with a poor kid trying to get her kid off the hood to like the goalpost moving, like understanding what does my mindset need to adjust to every time my bank account increases? What are my checks and balances to keep my ego and like my desire to grow and my desire to consume in check? Because I think that that's one thing we don't talk about. Just because you have more doesn't mean you should be spending more. You should be trying to stay in your means, like what's necessary.
So in a sense, okay, well, did somebody else have their hand up or somebody else want to go? Oh yeah, so you want to say? Okay, so in a sense, the video was before we can talk about how much power you actually have, you got to see how your identity is causing you to leak. Mm-hmm. One of the things he said was, once you say, I felt it personally. When I hit, I think, 28, I was like, yo, you can't be driving no Civic. You got to drive a Accord at least. You gotta drive a bigger sedan. You can't have a small car like this. You can't be no Volkswagen Bug. You gotta be in something. Come on, you know I'm talking about the grown man stuff, right? The grown man rules. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Or you work at a certain job and all of a sudden people are wearing Patagonia. And you're like, well, shit, I can't, I gotta wear some of these close to that same brand. You ain't like Mark Nordstrom's rack. You over here at the store actually trying, at the Patagonia store where that shit's real, going, well, if I have to spin it, I just gotta spin it, right? Let's have a transparent moment. How many times y'all been to an event or a festival with a lot of black folks and black folks look broke?
Never.
Most of the time when you go to festivals with black folks, matter of fact, you may have more money than everybody in that room and they will look better than you. Am I lying? They will have, how many black people you seen with Louis Vuitton?
That's crazy.
That's crazy. How many seen black people wearing Gucci? Not the fake, not the New York Gucci on the streets, but the real Gucci. Because the New York Gucci, we all, we know what I'm talking about. What's that street is that? What's that street? Canal Street, yeah. Not Canal Street Gucci, but real Gucci, right?
Gucci.
Yeah. Googie. What's up to see at? But anyway,
but context, just for context, the average black net worth, $7.
Say it again.
This was $7. Now, my data's kind of old. It's 2024 data.
Let's say, matter of fact, somebody with the AI, pull it up. The average black net worth.
Yeah.
Individual black
Meaning,
net worth. Pull it up. We go, because here's the thing. This is what AI can do. We can make shit go really smooth. And then I want y'all, and guess what? Oh, by the way, black people, just side note while y'all pull it up. Did you know that Oakland Public Schools dropout rate is close to 400 kids per month? 4,400 kids drop out of Oakland Public Schools. Guess how many kids drop out of Fremont per year? Close to 12. We in crisis, baby.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But we show up to these events looking amazing, looking incredible, with $10,000 worth of clothes on.
I seen it.
Yeah.
Go ahead. So you looked it up? Go ahead.
I looked it up, but that wasn't what I had a question.
Oh, okay. Go.
What
Go.
you said, Court. I feel so much pressure around what you just said with the upcoming Super Bowl weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Because what I'm doing is in the social space. I really would love to stay in my house the whole weekend. I don't want to deal with the Uber upcharge. I don't want to deal with parking. I don't want to be in crowds of people in 2026 Trump America. I just don't feel like dealing with it. But I feel like you better get out there because the streets are going to be full of opportunities, whatever that means. And if you're not in the mix, you have to be in it to win it, whatever it is, if you win anyway. So that point you made about, not in terms of buying things, but just in terms of spending money to be for placement purposes when you could be using that money to do something else.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's intentionality and it's probability, right? So what is the probability? What are you looking for? And what's the probability of it happening in one weekend? And what's your investment? There's going to be investment in time, right? If you go. But what's your investment in money? Do you think that everything you've built over time is going to rest on, say, a particular outfit? No, because systems thinking, right? How we're trying to think is we're thinking in systems thinking, which means Super Bowl weekend for some has a Willy Wonka effect, like, ooh, it's gonna be popping out here. Now, unless you robbing people, then if you build systems in place over time, you're gonna grow. But it's not contingent upon this one event. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's crazy that you're touching on this, as far as identity and not trying to fit in and really knowing who you are and what do you place your value on. I just got back from a mastermind in Vegas. And it was top entrepreneurs and top in real estate in my industry in the country coming together, and a lot of them were young, a lot of them were white or other nationalities, and I didn't see Louis in sight, I didn't see Dior, I didn't see any drip, casual, collared shirt, just regular dirty vans, millionaires though, like having it. And you know, I just was looking at it, and the conversations are about systems, about process. How can I help? How can I add value? Do you need data? Do you need this? And it was like, damn, I've been conditioned, because I'm over here assuming that they're gonna look a certain way. And you know, they didn't look a certain way. When they talked about money, it was in order to help and to inspire. It wasn't to big up on anybody. It was a different type of culture. And I know it was something I wasn't used to, and I was like, I need to be in more rooms like this. So I appreciate y'all bringing this up too.
Yeah, man. Like I'll say, when I quit that shit around 38, 39. I had the disease just like everybody else. Louis Vuitton belt. Had to have a Louis Vuitton belt underneath everything. I had to have the latest this and latest that, and just I had to be at the edge of everything. And it ends up, it's a weight, just like this video. And I remember I was dating this woman, and she was related to a celebrity, a very popular celebrity at the time. And she wouldn't tell me who it was. She said, hey, my cousin's in town. You want to come hang with me? I said, yeah, I'll come hang. So I hop in the car. He's like, yeah, he's a rapper. So I'm thinking we going to San Jose to some underground rapper. No, we going to like the San Jose Sharks Convention Center. He's one of them. So we go backstage to his room, his backstage room, and I get down and I start playing video games on the screen. And all these white dudes around me got these Costco outfits, like Kirkland outfits. Kirkland shirt with the Kirkland jeans, So I do a scan, because I'm still in that mindset. I do a scan of everybody's outfit. Broke, weak, whack, nerdy, corny, whatever. Kaja's boss is standing the founder of Kaja's company is standing in that room. The founder of Mark Zuckerberg is standing next to me, nervously playing with a bottle cap, and he spills his bottle cap on my lap. Me not knowing he says, oh, I'm sorry, man, take your bottle cap, man. I'm playing a game. So it wasn't until later he came over and said, hey, this is so-and-so, that's so-and-so, that's so-and-so. I'm like, that's crazy. And none of them had on none of that fancy shit. Nothing. They had Asics before Asics became cool. They was wearing Asics in Costco outfits. And it put things in perspective of how backwards we are as a culture. And the goal is there a way that we can someday realign with that and detach the fact of what's really cool? Is cool having a bank account that's growing, having a savings that's growing, being able to dictate what's cool. If I walk into a club and I can't get, if I'm trying to find, if I'm dating, trying to find women, and I can't get women without Gucci, I'm a lame. If you need that stuff to pick up you lame anyway. So why not? And why do you want anybody who dictates or who looks at that as anchors for you to want you? Like that's a weird investment. Like I don't even want you. Like the goal in this class is how can we shift that mindset? When I met him, he was in a Subaru. You know what I'm saying? Like that, because what's the mindset? What's the thinking behind that? What's the third order behind that? And like that's the goal of the class is how do we shift away from this culture that we're in to that mindset?
So, who's been down to Mississippi or Deep South lately? Anybody in LA? Okay, somebody who has been in Mississippi, grab a microphone. Okay, let me ask you a quick question. If you've been down to Mississippi lately, are California blacks richer than folks in Mississippi? Blacks in Mississippi? Go ahead.
You want mine, Saudi?
Yes. And it's crazy. I got a quick little story about that. Me and my family went to Alabama, and we went to this club, and everybody in Alabama like got chains on. We don't got chains on, but everybody out there got chains. And so they had like a little bottle section thing. And you know, usually like you go to a club, bottle section is like upcharge is crazy. Their upcharge though was only like $100 for a bottle, which normally out here would have been like 500. And so we was like, cool, like we finna get a bottle. So we was like getting bottles and stuff. And they was looking at us like we just did a magic trick on the phone. It was like, how, like, yo, where y'all from? What? And they find out like where we from, and they like, y'all came all the way from Oakland out here. Like y'all got big money. But everyone who's talking to us got all these chains, got everything. So they signal like they got hella bread. But then in reality, when you look at just how much that makes statistically, it's just like it's not looking like that. But they try to show the most though.
I would argue that Bay Area black people got more money than we realize, but our identity is killing us. We can't afford our identity. If you actually look at how much money we actually have, we're not talking. There's a part of Bay Area that's poor. So let's not go to, I know this one dude is real, or this one family. Yes, there's some really broke folks in the Bay Area. But a lot of Bay Area folks are complaining about a lot of stuff. If you actually were to travel, even in Chicago, I go down to Chicago, the South Side don't have money like us, right? And yet, when I watch us and how we're spending, we're doing what you just said. Oh, I think I need this now. I think I need that now. Gotta have these kind of shoes. Like, think about in the Bay Area, if you wore some really cheap Nikes as a man, hanging out with other dudes, how fast would that turn into you being conscious of what shoes you got on because the way the guy's gonna respond to it, right? Like you look at—
What are those?
Yeah.
What are those?
Right. It's like we're in a culture where we have this big identity requirement, and we don't realize that we're blowing our wealth because our identity is causing a huge leak. Now, I'm gonna go way further than this throughout the classes, but I want you to pay attention to, is your identity going against your wealth? Do you say, people like me do things like this, and those things like this? People like me live in an apartment like this. People like me drive cars like this. People like me, when I go on trips, I gotta be in first class. People like me, like I understand if you flying to Europe, you're in first class, 'cause that's a long ass fucking flight. But you flying to LA in first class? Are you flying down like a 2-hour flight to Texas and you're in first class? Like, what are your rules and standards? You know, when I get a hotel, it has to be at this cost at this hotel only, right? I want you to think about all these rules you have, and the reason for that is because this audit is the beginning of some shifting we're going to do throughout the year. I'm not going to use this whole class to do all the levels of shifting, but this is the first part. I just need you guys to go home and have a serious, honest conversation. Look around your house. Look at the items in your house. Now, don't look at the things you use all the time, because those things need to be purchased. I don't care if they're expensive or cheap. But pay attention to the things that surround those things and ask yourself, what's going on? And it's okay. You don't need to have the answer, but just see if there's a contrast there. Because as we go through the class, the goal is to empower you to shift that mindset, because your wealth building should start now, not when you make a lot of money. That's the trick. I'm going to show you how your money. So, for example, raise your hand if this is true. When you started your business, or you thought about starting your business, or when you was running your business, you thought about, I want to make sure my money's making money while I'm making money. So you said your money must be making money while you're making money?
I was thinking that would be nice.
Because most of us don't even think, most of us think about accumulating money. We're not thinking about money making money, which allows us to also accumulate money. And matter of fact, you get to the point that you don't even spend your accumulation, because your accumulation is your investment in generations to come. Go ahead. Which I'll get into how that works later on. We'll get into it. Turn the microphone on.
Hello? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. That just made me think of when I first started investing. The hardest thing for me was that I kept saying I was too late. Like I was just like, if I would have started a year ago, if I would have started 2 years ago, I would already have so much money. And then that stopped me from investing.
That's solid.
And that was like a really big thing for me for, honestly, probably at least a year. And I was like, well, if I wouldn't have thought that way, I would at least have a year's worth of investments. So
that's
at least for
super
me, that was
solid.
a big—
Matter of fact, you're gonna find out as we go through this class, the things that's been stopping you from making money has not been money. It is not. It's gonna be a lot of psychological stuff, because money is purely psychological. And even with that story you just told, I felt that as well. I put that as one point. But you don't realize that that's also you trying to domesticate the future you don't own. You don't realize you have surges. And those surges are huge investment drops while you have a consistent drop. And within 10 years, you can literally have crazy cash if you were to take those surges. So for example, let's say you're freelancing out here and you get an extra job here every once in a while. What if you threw that freelance money into your investment account? But when you threw the money into your investment account, say you said I'm investing, treat your investments like you spent the money. Like literally say, I just spent that money, I spent $300 and forget about it, right? 10 years, if you keep doing that, 10 years, it'll blow your mind through incremental, what's the word I'm looking for?
Compound.
What do you say? Compound? Yeah, compound. That's the word I'm talking about. Compound. Because it just ruined the echo. It's like the what? What they say? Okay. But through compounding, it's gonna blow your mind. Because compounding, I'm gonna show you how compounding works. I'm gonna show you the math. I'm gonna change so much in this class about. So when you start seeing things, I'm gonna change the way you see things. I'm gonna turn everybody in this class. The goal is by the end of this year to give you so much ownership over your investment habits and your spending habits and your saving habits to a point that I want to make sure that I'm increasing your surplus, your basic surplus of growth. Even if you're in this job, if you're in this class and you just have a job, I'm going to work on making sure that you're seeing growth. Because if you're an entrepreneur and you're just still focusing on just getting your head above water, you're doing it wrong. You're absolutely doing it wrong. There's always something you can do, but it has to be within your framing and your thoughts. So we'll stop there on the finance. We're going to get back to finance. I think every other class, I'm gonna just lock in on finance. And the goal is to, because some classes, if that's what we're gonna talk about the whole class, that's what we're gonna talk about the whole class. But we gotta get our money right so we can get our investments right. While we get our investments right, we can start working on futuristic wealth. For example, I'll give you one more cool one. How many of you guys have LLC or sole proprietor registered business? Raise your hand. Okay, well, shit, everybody. Okay, how many of you guys know that you could put your child on a salary that's tax-free? So if you could put your child on a salary tax-free, how many of you have started an investment account for your child? Ain't that some cold shit? That means like if you say, let's say you pay anywhere from $10,000 to $200,000 a year in taxes, right? You could take that child's salary out of that money, not your money, the money you're gonna give the government anyway, and pay your child a salary, put it in an investment account, and by the time they're 30 or 40, do you understand what position you put your child in? Now, mind you, I suggest you don't release it unless they're experiencing a certain relationship with freedom. But if we don't know these things, we've been giving our children's investment money back to the government all this damn time. Isn't that crazy? Go ahead.
Okay, I want to start with a pre-disclaimer. I'm not asking you for financial advice.
Yes.
But when you transfer that money or when you pay your child, does your child then have to pay taxes on that money?
No. That money's tax-free. There's a threshold. And if you're throwing it straight into an investment account for that child.
Like $7,000.
Yeah, it's a certain amount of money where you can cap it and say, hey, even if there's a certain interest that's paid on that little portion of money, you don't give a shit. It's paid off that $10,000. Okay, pull out that $10,000, the tax money, throw it in their interest-bearing account. If you look at that money over 20 to 30 years, you just gave your child a multi-million-dollar inheritance, and you never became a multi-millionaire.
So this is going straight from
your business straight to an investment account because your child wants to be paid through her investment account. Here's her
but
investment.
But it's going as a paycheck. They're an employee of the business.
Yes.
And you're just making sure
yes.
that it's the account.
Yes. Ain't that some cold shit? Like, if somebody told you this, like, I was like, I gotta make this much money to pass down to my kids. No, you just gotta change the way you think to pass down to your kids. Because right now you give your kids money to the government. You might catch that shit how cold that is?
This makes me want to question who's doing my taxes and my
Me too.
But this is why I said we're gonna have these classes and get really into the weeds of shit, because if we don't get into the weeds of stuff and have these financial conversations, we're like just animals talking, look at me. No, there's ways you can start setting up long-term wealth right now with no magic tricks. And it's in the system. It's not like, it's impossible. But many of us don't know it, and we're stuck in stories. We're not stuck in business. We're not learning how business works. The business that other cities are no longer the same structure as business in the 2020s because a lot of systems changed and the math is different. And if you don't know the math, if you follow the stories of your grandmother, your father, your mother and dad, it worked in that era because the math was different. Today, that same system will cost you money and you'll go broke. So that's why we're going to spend time having conversations about finance in this class, because the goal is to put you in a position where, yes, you're growing your business, you're making some money, sometimes you get these jobs where you get little extra cash, side jobs, and you dropping that side money just in an investment account, you're literally building wealth for your families. And then here's the thing, if you know how you structure it correctly, you're really building money for your great-grandkids. You know how to structure it correctly, because the withdrawal is the gain. How you pull money out of it, what percentage you pull out of it, and at what age you pull money out of it. Oh, it's a cold game. Anyway, let's go to the next slide.
And let me add something too, is that you also have to take inventory of who you are. A lot of you guys, a lot of us, you've purchased things not because you like them, but because culture likes them, or because you were influenced by somebody close to you. So, I mean, have you ever bought something? Have you ever saw something that looked good on somebody else or that looked dope on somebody else? You're like, yo, where you get that from? And because it looked good on them, and then you went and bought it, and it don't even look good on you. Or you don't even like it. After the wave of energy like quailed off, you don't even like it. So now it's stuck in your house somewhere and you spent money on something. And most of your houses, your rooms, your wardrobes, your car, everything, a lot of that is influenced by other people when you really don't even know what you like. Like, what do you like, without caring for about what anybody thinks about it. It's like one podcast asked the question, like, if you were the last person on earth, nobody else around, then what would you go buy? Then what kind of car would you go get? How would you dress? And if that's drastically different from who you are now, that means you're too influenced. That means you're a slave to the outside world, and anybody can force you or push you to buy this shoe. And so you got to like what you like and stand on that, so that when you make an investment, it's yours and it's not influenced by another person.
Also, when we go through this finance stuff, if any point we say anything, because we're trying to move away, shame is baked in the way that black people talk. What you need to do, that's shame. Because the end result is when you don't do it, you're going to feel shamed. If there's something that we're doing in this finance stuff that makes you feel at any point shame, pull me to the side, let's have a conversation, because I need to learn from you guys. Because once again, it's a flaw that's baked in me, and finance is something that I really want to make sure that we're delivering to our community without making our community feel judged, attacked, valued, or devalued. And I want to make sure that we're always separating your personal value from your finances, right? Finances is designed to give you freedom, to give you access to time, right? To give you freedom to use your time the way you want to use your time. But it's not defining your personal value. So I don't care how much money you got in the bank, irrelevant. I want you to focus on I want to see you improve your rate of growth and get the dopamine hit from growth. Because there's a dopamine hit when money drops in your account every month. Like when you see hundreds to thousands of dollars fall in your account every month, like literally going, hey man, I dropped off, I'm leaving you $6,000. I'll see you next month. You want anything? Nah. You thirsty? Nah. You want me to fix anything? Nah. You just gonna leave me $6,000? Yeah. I'll be damned. I can't wait to see you again. Right? It's almost like when they come and you all dressed up, when we go, my boy gonna be, what's up, baby? Right on, see you next month. It's literally gonna become like that once you start to restructure your life and make your money work for you. It's a whole different experience. I'm gonna try to get some high-end capitalists in the room to also like weigh in on some of these deeper questions. But once again, I don't give a shit who you talk to. Even if you sign up with Merrill Lynch or any other company, you have to gain ownership for yourself, because there's multiple strategies on how to get there through investments. And real estate is a solid investment, but there is a math to it. And if you don't know that math, sometimes renting is better than purchasing. There is a math for that. So with that being said, I want to revisit some of these podcasts. Kenny, you ready?
Yep.
Okay, let's go.
Working out is important. Understanding friction. Why? The core truth. Entrepreneurship is choosing a life where friction is permanent, but agency is higher. You don't enjoy the friction. You enjoy how you get to be while navigating it. That's the trade. And it's not for everyone by design.
So why this is a whole section, but let me come back to this friction thing just real quick, why this is important. The current trend of popular society right now is removing friction. It happened to George Floyd. It happened in .com in Silicon Valley. Matter of fact, Matt Kaja can speak to this. You know what happened? You know a perfect company that failed because they removed the friction? Google X. Google X has so much motherfucking money. And guess what happens when friction does? Friction increases innovation. It reduces noise. It creates some of the best shit happens during friction. Friction is one of your greatest gifts that we don't like. Like, if you want to see when the people develop the dopest, most powerful, when you have the most focus, the most drive, is during friction. When you remove a friction, watch entrepreneurs when friction goes down. They almost look like they're dumb. They almost look like they don't know what they want to do. Because when friction is there, it almost gives you directives, it gives you a drive, it improves your performance, it makes you focus deeper, it makes you lock in, higher levels of discipline, it reduces noise. But we're in the current society where everybody's removing friction. And matter of fact, we're getting to a point that we're framing friction as being somewhat, okay, I'll give you another dope example.
The opposition of happiness.
Hear me out. This is a dope ass example. I'm reading a book called Belonging. The professor, the dean of business, who used to be the dean of psychology, she's been sending me some dope ass books, right? Sister.
Which school?
Which school? Stanford. Oh, Stanford. The dean of Stanford Business. So that's a heavyweight dean. And the reason I wanted to have a relationship with the dean Stanford is because her colleagues and them are having conversations that can reduce some of the pop, like flush out the pop stuff, right? Because a lot of times there's so much, I come across so much information that I need to have multiple sources of people who are going through the same information, from the people who are doing the work to the people who are examining the work, to reduce the amount of noise as I engage. So she sent me this book called Belonging. In the book Belonging, the professor had this experience where a group of kids, this is a dopest story, I promise, one of my favorite stories of all times. This group of kids, this one black girl was on her way to class, and there was some racist stuff written on the wall. So when she got to her class, her science class, she couldn't focus. And the teacher noticed that, what's going on? Why can't you focus? And the racism had her thinking like, well, did you write it? She didn't know who wrote it, so she was very, very unstable. So then they brought in a group of black kids in, and they sat down with a group of black kids, and these kids were saying, yeah, going to a white college is kind of rough. And they was like, why? They said, well, because, the sliding, the racism, and like, well, what is it? They go, it's just these things that white people do that's just hella racist, right? So they say, okay, cool. Do me a favor. We're gonna get a group of black kids, and also we're gonna get a group of white kids, and let's just take a journal of what's the week like for you, right? So all new students, first-year students. So the kids are writing down all the slights to the week. So the teacher grabs a document and says, let me read what one student wrote. In class today, this week in school, the professor wouldn't call me back. The professor wouldn't even look at me many times. I couldn't form any friends. Quite often, people wouldn't even give me any attention or any time. I called the professor numerous times. The professor refuses to respond to me. He goes, guess what? That student's a white girl. The point was, the narrative the child had before the child went to school made the child reframe their experiences. I mean, that you were having first-year experiences in school, but what happened was when you hit those friction points, you changed the priming and the framing of those friction points and made those friction points personal, meaning it affected you differently because of the way you framed the experience. I mean, that when you first get to school, nobody gives a fuck about who you are. Ain't nobody checking for you. And matter of fact, the white girl in her journal said when she stopped trying to be friends with everybody and just focused on becoming good in school, then people started to respond to her differently, right? A lot of times when you have these narratives running in the background, like every time you feel friction, it means this. Every time you feel resistance, it means this. Every time something hurts, it means this. When things are hard, it means this. Whatever that story is, it's not the friction is your problem. It's the story you're running that makes the friction the problem. If you could change the story behind every pain point and friction point, not the pain points of death, there's certain pain points that we're not talking about. If you got a certain kind of toothache, you don't need to reframe that one. That shit hurt. But what I'm saying is there's certain irritations that we have in society that causes us to change our decisions. Pay attention to the story you're running before the irritation happens. And quite often, you domesticating that story will allow you to build a different relationship with friction. The reason we try to get people to go work out is not because we want everybody to be Mr. and Mrs. Fitness in the class. That's kind of weird to expect that. It's so you can domesticate friction. You can learn to say that, you can learn to pay attention to how your brain lies to you, how your brain tries to distort you, how do you even feel about friction? Are you the kind of person that's just trying to remove friction from your life so much to the point that your life is so soft that you wonder why you don't perform at a certain level? Your life is too soft. A lot of times entrepreneurs intentionally, we go out and find friction. We do things the hard way intentionally sometimes. Not because there's not a better way. We just know that if we remove all of our friction, we're not the same animal anymore.
The universe abhors a vacuum. You know what that means? The universe abhors a vacuum. That's related to the same statement that says if you don't use it, you lose it. So us as humans, we're wired a certain way for peak activity. Our brains, our bodies, our nervous systems, the way our neurons fire, the way our muscles respond, and it's not just built from walking to the car and walking back somewhere and sitting on the couch for 8 hours a day, typing on a computer. We think that's normal, but what we don't realize that our body is wired for way more activity. So if you don't use it, what happens is you lose it over time. That's what happens with muscles. They collapse, they start to get weaker. The mind starts to get weaker because you're not pushing yourself. You're not pushing yourself. And your mind and body, spirit, it starts, because it's only going to start using what it's only going to start maintaining what it's using. So the relationship with friction and entrepreneurship is you're sending signals to your brain that says, no, I need all of you. I got big stuff happening. There's a lot of things that I need all of you for. So that's why I'm going to push my body, because physiological storms that happen in your brain are related to how you push your body, not about just getting muscles. There's studies done with athletes that, and you guys know this, athletes perform way better when before the game they sit and do what? Visualize the game. So if you put a 3D mask on somebody, AR around them, and walk them through the game, their body, the physiological triggers still happen in the body. The muscles still fire without you even being in the game. It's because those two are connected. We know this. That's why we're trying to push you guys to do this. It's not just about being in shape. It's saying, yo, once you get comfortable with being uncomfortable and pushing your body past its limits and seeing what failure can do and recovery and growth, then that is a precursor to what happens in business. Business is gonna be uncomfortable a lot of the time, and it's gonna take consistency, routine, getting better, following the same program, and those things are so interconnected. You won't know until you know. You don't know until you in it. Because winter's gonna come for every one of you. Every one of your business. Winter's gonna come. Fucking period. So if You know, you've been dancing around, having fun, just enjoying being an entrepreneur, man, that's great. You know, if say you want to scale and get better or grow, or say you're hella raw, maybe AI just took a chunk of what you do and now easy. It puts you in a strategic inflection point where like, oh shit, a oh shit moment. And if you don't have experience being able to navigate through oh shit moments, then your IQ is going to drop because your body ain't never experienced being uncomfortable. And if you've been in a gym, it at least has that as a resource, as a reference point. I'm telling you, like this is so very important for this year. Like we really encourage you. We'll come work out with you. Like we going to work out with Pastor Chris. Like, man, let's get it so you get comfortable with pain, so that when the pain of business happens, then you already got some reference.
Next slide.
Entrepreneurs don't enjoy friction. They enjoy agency under friction. No healthy entrepreneur wakes up thinking, I love stress, chaos, and uncertainty. What they enjoy is problem ownership, choice, understanding, constraint.
No, choice under constraint.
I'm sorry. Choice under constraint, self-authorship, progress earned, not granted, learning through consequence. In other words, they don't enjoy pain. They enjoy being the kind of person who can operate while friction exists. That's a massive difference.
So one of the things I noticed this year when I got a chance to have some conversation with certain people who are running businesses in this class, they change under pressure. They're hella nice when there's no pressure. They're hella friendly, hella giving. But when their numbers get hit, they have a rough day. They experience volatility. They become different human beings. When you're an entrepreneur, you don't get to change because the pressure just changed. And by you learning to get used to pressure, you learn how to create consistency during pressure, as opposed to becoming inconsistency. Like, you know, people going, I had a hard day, that's why I got an attitude. That's not entrepreneurship. That is not entrepreneurship. Yeah, like when I had a mother, when I was a kid, my mother used to come home and have a hard day. And some days she'd be nice, and I'm getting fruit. Next day I'm getting an ass whooping. Like, I'm not even exaggerating, right? And I thought this doesn't make sense to me, because why didn't you hit your boss today? Why did you hit me? Like, why'd you, if you can't control your anger, why didn't you fire on your boss? And you could have found out, oh, you could control your anger. The problem is that you told yourself it's a story that's okay to bring that home to my children. And what you'll realize is that even if you have to go into a back room and relax and cool off, or take a lunch break and go for a walk, whatever that is, but I promise you, once you improve your mind-body relationship, you can control your output. Doesn't mean you won't be upset. Doesn't mean you won't be scared. Doesn't mean you won't be happy. Doesn't mean any of those emotions won't exist. The question is, can you be consistent? Especially in a face of scarcity. Do you provide the same service when you broke? Do you give people, do you pay for the same things for your employees when you broke? Or do you change up because your money's funny? Even though you got the money to do it, but you're like, I need probably just put this away because things are kind of hard right now. Do you talk to people different when they quit? Or when a client says, I'm ready to leave? Like, do you get mad when a person comes in with a complaint and tells you your business sucks? Like, all that stuff is tied to you developing a relationship with chaos, uncertainty, friction. These are things that you got to build a relationship. Not just being comfortable, being uncomfortable. That was a cool phrase to make things easy, but literally becoming comfortable with stress, chaos, uncertainty. And I promise you, I've seen so many people who sit in this class and they're full of they can just get on this microphone like, yeah, and what I was thinking, Nana, and da-da-da-da-da. And as soon as you poke the bear of one of those areas of chaos, uncertainty, friction, stress, you don't even recognize that human being no more.
And entrepreneurship ain't for everybody. It ain't. It's just the truth. Now, again, can you build up to entrepreneurship and learn it? Absolutely, we all can. But what's the difference? It's not the knowledge, not the information. It's this part. It's this part. Because not everybody wants to do that. Not everybody wants to be uncomfortable or jump off a cliff or deal with high risk or uncertainty and stress. This is where people fall off. This is where people fall off. The previous slides is where people fall off. Not the grandiose vision and idea of growing a business and selling a product, exchanging for product or service. When we get to these parts, in theory, people like, yeah, that's cool. But when somebody gets to this part in real life, this is where a lot of people say, nah, I'm cool. And we're saying, let's go back to this other slide and let's prepare you for this part. Let's get you ready. Man, today, it broke my heart. I've been talking to this dude. He came in the gym. We started working out. We didn't work out together, but I say about a year ago, I seen him. He's bone skinny, right? Bone skinny, like a skeleton in that motherfucker. And so I show him how to do certain stuff. He working out, and he would be consistent every day. I see him. He was at it, and be like, "Well, I ain't gaining no weight. I'm getting stronger, but I'm not gaining any muscle." I said, "No, just keep at it. What are you eating?" Start talking about his diet, protein intake, all that stuff. And every time I see him, and about maybe 8 months into it, I'm like, "Yo, I see you. You know, you getting there. You gaining progress." Today I walked in the gym, and he put on like 15 more pounds of muscle. I'm like, yo. And now he working out in a wife beater. I'm like, hey, okay, I see you. And we shake hands, we talk. I tell him how proud I am of him. He was like, you know, the truth is, I've been fighting. I started fighting a case a year ago, and I might do time. So I'm preparing for if I have to do some time. I'm like, damn. He's like, but I've been depressed, stressed, hurting inside because, you know, I don't know what's going to happen with this case. But the only thing that's keeping my mind sane and keeping me right is being in this gym. I said, hey, I'm proud of you for that. Stay in here because it's going to at least continue to help you prepare and give you some sort of progression and hope. And that's all we doing with this gym shit. We're not trying to lord anything over. It's literally connected.
And this is true. And going to the gym is not the goal. Going to the gym and feeling stress is the goal. The shit's heavy. It's exhausting. You almost can't finish your workouts. Some days you kind of dizzy because you almost want to throw up because it's like if you're working out and you can talk on your cell phone.
You ain't working out.
But that happens. There's so many people that I don't know what's happened in the last 20 years. There's more people at the gym right now that treat the gym like it's the new club. They're talking and they're on the phone. Yeah, so no, I'm working out, man. I'm over here curling. Yeah, man, I got about 40 more sets to go. Why are you here, bro? Right? And it's almost like they're doing what people told them they're supposed to do, but the goal is not for you to be in the gym because that's a disciplined place to be. It's for you to build a relationship with the friction and stress and the benefits that come from that. And will you like it? No. I don't like chaos, pain, and stress. Fuck you think wrong with me? I don't like that. But I like the agency I get from that. And that's what you have to remember. Like once you get used to that agency, but it's the same thing with like wealth. When you start doing the boring stuff for wealth, it ain't gonna be all exciting. It ain't gonna be you can't do a rap video. You will not be going on social media talking about the shit you're doing, building your wealth. And guess what? You're hella excited. So the thing is, once you understand that a lot of shit is excited, you're not gonna find on social media. You're not gonna get praise. Can you walk the opposite direction when everybody's going this way? And no one's applauding for you. That's the path of wealth. Next slide. Go ahead, Shkina.
Why this matters. Most people misdiagnose the lifestyle. Many people try entrepreneurship thinking, once I escape my boss, it'll be easier. Once I'm my own boss, I'll feel free. Once I make enough money, the stress goes away.
By the way, we almost echoed some of that in our previous discussion, right? Mm-hmm. Keep going.
That's false.
Ooh.
What actually changes is you trade external control for internal responsibility.
Whoa. Listen to that one. You trade external control for internal responsibility. Keep going.
You trade predictable stress for adaptive stress.
So you should predictive. Now you're adapting. No, you're building a relationship with stress. You're choosing stress as opposed to the situation where stress is just happening to you. You're building a relationship with stress. Go ahead.
You trade permission for judgment.
That's a huge one. Meaning that, you know how in our culture, slavery created a lot of dependency. So we say, we would do this if white people would, which is a statement of if they gave us permission. If they helped us, if somebody came through, if they gave us permission. If my parents, if they gave us permission. As opposed to, what can I do? Take ownership and having judgment. That's what entrepreneurship is. You're trading. Some people make really good money. I know a lot of rich friends I have who live their whole life under permission. It's not here to demonize you. However, once you decide to go on to an entrepreneur, don't bring the permission game over here. Mm-hmm. You don't get to ask somebody, what can I do next? Is it okay? So you're literally trading these things to go to a different rhythm. Keep going.
If you don't like making decisions without guarantees, entrepreneurship will feel like a constant threat. If you do like that, even when it's uncomfortable, it feels meaningful.
So in business, you know how you're constantly looking for guarantees? I mean, like, people are looking for guarantees, like, well, why should that? How can you guarantee that for me? We make so many decisions that have no guarantees attached to it. This is why it doesn't make sense for an entrepreneur not to be investing, because investment is a game of no guarantees, right? I mean, even though you may make money, and we have history of hindsight, people making money, there's nothing guaranteed that 10 years from now, you'll make money. But entrepreneurs is comfortable living in a world where there's no guarantees. Now, if that makes you feel very, very uncomfortable, or the point that you got to have some sense of safety. That's why, I remember about 3 years ago, I was like, yeah, I'm not crazy about the word safety. It's over leveraged, it's overused, right? The reason I hated that word, because that's not our language. Entrepreneurship is not an act of being safe. It's just not. You don't leave your job to become an entrepreneur thinking that you're trading one safety solution for another safety solution. Realize you're walking into a world where there is no guarantees.
None.
Anybody feel different about that? Before I move on to the next slide? All right, next slide.
Josh.
Oh, go ahead, Josh. Go ahead. Oh, no, okay, Josh. Go ahead. Now, this is one of my favorite ones. This is another one I talked about all through. Go ahead.
Why working out is important continued. Consistency over highlights.
Mm-hmm.
New entrepreneurs overweigh momentary highlights and underweigh consistency.
So let me get to that first. Some of us are even victimized by this. I'm gonna start from different angles. I'm gonna work my way all the way back to entrepreneurs. You ever met a father who's paying child support, who takes their child to big events, but doesn't really see the child any other time? And if you ask him, was he a good father? He'll say, yes, I was.
Yep.
Have you ever seen a mother who works all the time? And both of these people, we're not here to attack them. I'm trying to show you how we're being primed to get used to inconsistency. A mother who works all the time, who comes home from work, maybe make the food for you, but will highlight what they did for you on Christmas, your birthday, and certain moments, but are pretty inconsistent. Y'all seen that before? It's no different than somebody who goes to the gym and has a hard workout and wants to tell everybody, and then realize that the hard workout doesn't mean anything. The consistency means everything. Learning to build a relationship with consistency. I can't tell you how social media is a highlight reel waiting to happen. Everybody who's on, like, we had a student in this class, every time they decided to do something, they wanted to go out and do a YouTube video. And we talked so much shit to this person. This is when the shame was on 100. We shamed the shit out of that person one-on-one. Because what they were doing was, they didn't realize consistency is not worthy of Facebook. It's not worthy of Instagram. It's not worthy of TikTok. How do you show consistency? It's very boring to show that shit. Highlight reels are this is where we gain status from. Last night, man, I was at the gym, man. I was training with this high-end trainer, man. We put it in. I hired me a chef, and she made this dope-ass meal last week. I had to cut out the sugar for like 2 weeks straight, bruh. Fucking highlight. Consistency is, I probably had 2 cupcakes the whole year last year. I'm normalizing this situation. I worked out 6 days a week the whole year. I walk every day, 5 days a week. I walk a mile every day. Consistency. And yet we run around, okay, y'all, when the last time y'all been to a party with black people? Are they highlighting their consistency or are they highlighting their highlights?
Highlights.
That's all we talk about is highlights. Because highlights makes us feel good. But guess what? Remember that old lesson we taught a long time ago that if you talk about success all the time, you start thinking you're actually doing it even though you're not doing it? Because your brain will fool you, make you think because you talk about it, you're doing it. That's what highlights do to you. Man, I work out hard. I've been working at the gym. I'm not getting no results. I be putting it in. But if I went back and looked at your schedule, well, 3 days this week, 1 day last week because some shit happened. Then you had 5 days one week, but then you missed the whole next week because the other shit happened. And then the week after that, you kind of went in, but you was kind of sick, so you barely worked out that week. And then you have the nurse sitting in front of me like, I'm doing everything right. Highlights. So consistency over highlights. I want you to go back and say, okay, I'm a good parent. So for example, I know I'm gonna share my story because I don't want you to think there's no perfect motherfuckers in this world. I had my daughter, right? Oh, yeah, I'm glad to be a dad. And then dad comes over here with me. Dad, sit down and play with me. Now, I'm a busy man. And at first I think, but look, last week I took you to Disneyland. What's going on? No, where's your consistency? So what I had to start saying is, okay, I gotta get home by 8 o'clock every night so my daughter can decide what my time will be used for. And in that time, that's her time. And I gotta make myself available at this time because consistency is what changes a child's life, not highlights. A child will tell you overnight when they get older, you didn't do shit for me, and if you just think about the highlights. But consistency will make your parenting it makes it solid and real to the child. So ask yourself, like, whatever you're working on, do you have a consistency problem? I don't want to hear about your highlights. I worked on this project all night last night. Yeah, what did you do the rest of the week? Were you being consistent?
Goes back to, where do you practice this? You practice it in the gym because it's one of the main elements where you can't get quick results out of the gym. You can't. It's inherent in the gym to where it takes years, months, years, multiple years for you to see progress and results. And so once you get good at and comfortable with playing really the long game, then you can play the long game in other things too more easier. Consistency is boring. And can you be boring? Consistency is boring. Even if you posted a dope workout video on Instagram and everybody liked it, post one again the next day. See if you get the same amount of likes. Then post one the third day. And the next day. And the next day. You see, watch your likes go down. Because highlights, dopamine hits and highlights are the thing of the day for us. But consistency, boring. Nobody want to hear that shit. Nobody want to see that shit. Here's the thing. You have to be able to, again, take inventory of yourself. You have to be naked to yourself. Naked to your finances. What truly are your numbers? Naked to your mental health, emotional, mental. Where are you exactly? Where's your body exactly? You can fake buff. You can fake in shape with some nice clothes.
Really?
You can fake it. You can accentuate, the good things and with some nice clothes. But when you take your clothes off, you still got to stare at yourself. Like, that's the real inventory. And so if we can look at our number, entrepreneurs, we train ourselves to look at our numbers like that. Damn, it's what it is. Ain't no, how you doing, man? I'm doing big things. Ain't none of that. Yeah. It's, you know exactly what you're doing. Same with your mind, same with your body. Once you get comfortable being honest with yourself, that can give you the tools to change it.
So read that list real quick, Shakita.
Yes.
So,
They chase.
but actually, before you read the list, don't raise your hand. Just mentally raise your hand. How many of you guys within the last year had a scrolling problem? So just think about that, your scrolling problem. Yeah, scrolling like internet, whatever, okay. You're gonna be on that left side because you're being trained unconsciously to be on the left side. So read the left side.
They chase big wins, viral moments, sudden validation, one-time payouts, public praise.
Trust me, since the episode you admitted it, do you feel those? Those hit you? Yeah, I'm talking about like scrolling culture is shaping your mind, right? You're not scrolling. It's not just, oh, you're enjoying it, right? But it's shaping your norms, what you like, what you value. Like all of us human beings are observation and response animals. We observe and respond, observe and respond. We don't really escape that ever, right? So whatever habit you're engaging in, it's going to shape happiness, joy, frustration, and anger, right? Do you see any of those seeping into some of your thinking?
I'm not sure I understand.
So do you sometimes in business look for the big win? Do you look for viral moments? Do sometimes you look for sudden validation? Do you find yourself looking for one-time payouts, like the big payout? Do you look for public praise?
I guess the confusion is like I don't look for that while looking at other people's highlights. For me, it was entertainment. It was the addiction to something new popping up on the screen. It's like, oh, look at this, look at this, look at this. And then eventually it's like, oh,
So-
I'm losing brain cells, and then delete.
You're now on trial. If you put me in prison, you would not be, we're not us because the environment is shaping us, right? We don't get to escape our environments. Like, for example, if you want to change any behavior with a large group of people, don't sit down and give them speeches. Don't give them lectures. It's almost a waste of fucking time. Look at what environment is incentivizing certain behavior. So when you're online, if you're enjoying the scrolling process, that scrolling process starts to shape the way you see the world, the way your brain works, the way you process information. It has an external impact upon you, right? And so what I'm saying is that when you're doing something, a habit, so I'm trying to move us away from the shame, what you should do, right? How do we empower you to move towards the consistency side? And what you'll find is that if you find yourself, the highlight side, the highlight side comes with certain patterns that happen in society, right? So for example, if you're a very popular, let's say if you're a very popular person, right? That's going to impact the way you do business. A less popular person does business totally different than, like for example, there was a kid that was in our class that went through the African American Male Achievement. He came to our class. And when he was in African American Male Achievement, he was the most popular kid in OUSD. Like everybody knew who he was. I pulled him aside when he's on his graduation and say, man, spend some time around me because I'm worried about you. What? I'm the most popular kid. Because I knew once you left school, you're not going to get that same signal back. And that shit, once you start chasing that, it's like a drug. And when you start chasing that drug, there's certain characteristics that come from that that's going to cause damage to you. It can even cause depression. It can cause you to go down a fucked up rabbit hole, right? So what I'm saying is that when you're scrolling, you become comfortable seeing wins so often. Like, for example, the reason I can't scroll a lot, because it'd be like, ugh. It really disgusts me, so I can't get through this, right? Or if I'm doing scrolling, or I can do this, let me pay attention to what's going on with this person. Like I can tell if somebody's like having a depressed episode by something positive they're doing online, right? So they can signal me in, or I can see a cultural pattern that's happening, that's unfolding, that's storytelling online. So the question is, if you say, okay, I have a scrolling problem. Like if you don't have a scrolling problem, you just like to scroll every once in a while, you might not be the person. But if you have a person like you can find yourself easily getting caught up in scrolling because you really enjoy it that much, I think if you audit yourself, not me audit you, audit yourself, you find those things are leaking in.
I have a feeling maybe I'm misdiagnosing myself because I once I find myself on it for 10, 15 minutes, like I'm like, oh no, this was just a waste of my life, and I literally feel like I just lost brain cells, and then it's like delete this app again and make it very difficult for me to just tap links to get to it. So I regulate that exposure a lot, and because I also understand that, you know, this is a machine that I am in no position to fight. They have a lot of investment in learning how to hook people on this machine.
Absolutely.
I'm not trying to fight that.
Yeah.
So does anybody in this class, without recognizing, not just, okay, do you guys see the connection between social media addiction and this? Is it, because I just want to make sure, because I don't want to make it too personal. Like this is not attempted, like, we're not, there's gonna be classes where it's gonna be personal, but that's when we go offline. But right now, while we're online, I want us to just see a connection between that people are really strong in this area. They're also very strong with online culture. They're one and the same almost. Go ahead.
Those companies, they spend billions of dollars and get really, 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 really good at distracting you and taking away your attention. So the commodity is attention. So they're hella good to the point to where we're almost to the point where we don't have a lot of conscious control. So it's tough. I had a scrolling problem, and you know what I did? I deleted the app off my phone, and I wouldn't even allow me to upload the app again for a whole year. I have a client that needed to connect to my Instagram because we're connected, so he can open his shop on his Instagram page, and I just recently got back on, maybe about a month or so ago, and it's even worse, like because I haven't been there online for a year, so it's even worse. Like it will figure out what you like and it will just jump on you.
Target.
So it's a very dangerous tool that as entrepreneurs you gonna teach time, attention, money again this year? Yeah, because that's so powerful to understand that your commodity is time and attention, and they make billions off of diverting yours. So, and again, it's so true. If you mindlessly scroll, then they're reprogramming, they're rewiring your brain for dopamine hits, and that's hits, wins, and soon normal shit, you're numb to it, is too weak. But you're used to seeing fights and being cussed out, and if racism is your thing, then there's all kind of racism. If women is your thing, it'll all pile, like whatever your thing is, it'll pile up and it'll be a consistent dopamine. So like you gotta guard against, we all gotta guard against it.
So on the right side, imagine somebody who's addicted to scrolling, following those things on the right side. Repeatable behavior, boring systems, weekly cadence, small compounding gains, reliability. Have you guys paid attention, like the young people who are stuck on the line, they don't do strong in these areas. They're not strong in these areas. I have a niece right now who doesn't like to scroll at all, and she's very strong in this area. The ones that are not strong, the ones who are scrolling more, they're closer to the left side. Now, the extreme left side, let's not try like everything applies, but you'll see more of them leaning towards the left than they do towards the right. Yeah. And if you're going to become an entrepreneur and you're going to become a builder, if you're just buying real estate and you're going to oversee the process of building, you need more of the right side. Straight up. A lot of those books you read in real estate, are those books boring or what? They're extremely boring. I remember when I took real estate classes, I got through them, but it was discipline. It wasn't incitement, it was discipline. All right, next slide. Go ahead, Shakina.
Why this happens, not a character flaw. A, highlight bias, how the brain is wired. Humans remember peaks, firsts, and public wins. The brain encodes emotion, not averages. Consistency feels invisible, so it feels unimportant. B, early entrepreneurs are signal starved. New entrepreneurs lack revenue, stability, market feedback, long feedback loops. So they substitute moments of excitement for evidence of progress. A highlight becomes proof something is working, even if nothing is repeatable.
Whoa. Do y'all get that? This is when you're a new entrepreneur, you're almost, This is why it's important to understand how as human beings, we were just responding. We're not, remove your value. If you put your value in here, you start thinking, am I stupid, am I smart, am I lack of discipline? No. When you're a new entrepreneur, it's hard to focus on to be in the focus space because you ain't got much, you ain't getting many signals. So you're addicted to highlights because that gives you a sense of maybe this, because it's so fucking boring when you first start. You're walking for days and not sure if you're going the right direction. And so now you're like, oh, yesterday I saw a big rock. Woo! I know I'm going to right. Boy, there's big rocks everywhere. No, not like this one. Like literally, your brain will make something out of nothing, and also too, your brain is already wired for highlights. So you're fighting against your nature. Remember I said last week, if you go with your nature, you'll be dissatisfied. This business shit, this growth shit, this progress shit is going against what your brain is wired to do. Keep going, Shakina.
C, social media distorts the scoreboard. Platforms reward peaks, not averages. Announcements, not execution.
How many times do you see all the announcements on social media? Oh my God. Go ahead, keep going.
Identity signals, not cash flow.
So a cash flow, we're gonna get into cash flow this year. And we're gonna get into cash flow. I promise you, when we get into cash flow, you don't realize ain't nobody talking about cash flow. People don't know what the fuck how to talk about cash flow. Once we get into cash flow, like you hear, I got money. You don't hear, even when I remember rappers, I got money, they never discuss the cash flow though. It's a big freaking difference. Keep going.
This trains people to optimize for the appearance of success, not operational reality.
So operational reality, listen to that word. You get used to operating for the appearance of success, not the operational reality. Like how does a person who's driving wealth, how do they operate? Like what you're used to hearing is, what does it look like? This is like you said earlier, that's what I thought they looked like. No one's ever taught you, no, fuck what they look like. What is their operational? Because there's also exceptions to the rule. But when you see the operational rhythm, you can know who's in front of you. And they show signs of that operational rhythm. Because you could be hanging out with them, and they're like, I gotta go, I gotta lock in some study time. You're like, what the fuck you mean study time? We in Las Vegas, it's chilling. Fuck you talking about? I just gotta lock it in real quick. Like, God damn, this guy weird. Because the operational game is different. Go ahead.
You know what's funny? On our trips, our entrepreneur trips, everybody has weird habits that they stick to. All of them. None of them are they're not all the same, but you can tell the level of discipline of all the men in that house, because Mashama would be like, "Hey, I'll see y'all later." He go to bed because he has rhythms and routines in his mind, and we'd be like, "We out here kicking it." Nope, he out. And then some people wake up, go to the gym. Some people wake up, because they're stuck. They're so ingrained. Their rhythms are so ingrained in their systems that wherever you are, it's going to come out even a little bit. And I wanted to say this real quick though. If you guys follow basketball, anybody know anything about the NBA or basketball? You see how basketball has evolved over the time, and where a lot of European players are dominating the game. That's American players, American-born players are having a little bit of decline, right? Now, when social media, talk about highlights, when social media started, coaches used to have to, before social media, coaches used to have to get on a plane and fly to all of these different cities to watch kids play. Then social media happened, and they can watch kids' highlights from social media. Man, I don't gotta go nowhere. So I can watch a kid make every shot on a highlight reel. Dunk every time, no turnovers. So guess what? Kids start getting D1 scholarships from just highlight tapes. Highlight tapes. So the lack of the C level, the consistency, all the intangibles, the quiet stuff disappeared because coaches weren't flying out and watching people play no more. They was going off of highlight tapes. So then when they recruit this kid and get him here, they realize you're missing the consistency. And so the level of quality play over time started declining. That's what happens in real life as an entrepreneur too. If we don't have the consistency and we focus on the highlights, just the highlight part of the game, then like the nuanced parts that really keep it stuck together, we lose.
Question. It's like.
Debunking entrepreneurship myths.
So here's some myths, and we're gonna try to run on these myths, and we'll run to like 9:05 or 9:10, and we'll call it a day. Keep going.
Until we know we are wrong, being wrong feels exactly like being right.
Okay, sit with that for a second. Until you know you was wrong, being wrong feel like you were right. This is why you gotta come up with that right versus wrong. You will always feel like you're right, even when you're wrong. That's the coldest shit. That shit hits you in the stomach when you first learn it, but once you really digest it, it makes you humble as shit. Arguing that you're right, if you get in an argument, it should automatically convert to curiosity, not you trying to be right. Because when you were wrong, you was convinced you were right until you were not. Is that cold? Just sit with that for a second. Like, if you really embrace this, how are you still arguing? How? What the fuck you arguing for? You should, like, our argument should turn into research. Like, literally, like, hold on, wait. Why are we arguing? Let's look this up, yo. Let's take some time to figure this out. No, I know. I'm telling you, I was there. Boy. Next slide.
Myth number 1. If I improve my skills, I am developing as an entrepreneur. This belief quietly collapses many promising businesses. Why this myth exists. Skill development feels like progress because it is concrete, measurable, praised by schools, certifications, and platforms. Learning marketing tactics, design tools, coding, sales scripts, or AI prompts creates motion, but not necessarily entrepreneurial capacity. Skills make you useful. Entrepreneurship requires you to be responsible for the outcomes.
So, I think there's a few more slides to attach this. If you've had a job in the last 5 or 10 years, you might be over leveraging your skills. If you're running a company, your skills have to become less. Okay, let me explain this. This is going to seem weird, but it's a different form of thinking. If your business is based upon your skills, how do you scale? You can't.
You can't.
Eventually, you won't get to the point where you hire skillful motherfuckers and you grow in the company. But if it's based on your skills, you just created a job.
A really plush job.
Right. And so the more you keep doubling down on your skills and not learning how to build and run a business that doesn't need you to go to work every day, you're not building a business, you're just maintaining a job. And that's why you have to get into the things, the abstractions of business, not the concrete side of business. The concrete side would have you convinced, I'm working hard, I'm the best out here, I'm really talented. But here's the thing, you'll get so branded so hard that if you took a day off and had somebody else train your people, work with your people, build for your people, create for your people, produce for your people, they'll be mad because they want to work with you because you trained them that you're the most talented person who can do a certain job. How do you get where your business is what people are coming to do business with, not you? You see the difference? So a lot of us think being an entrepreneur is finally breaking away from the job, not realizing, no. Being an entrepreneur is growing a system that will provide a service for human beings that doesn't require for you to be at the front desk. Doesn't mean you can't hang out the front desk and do analysis for insights and customer service. I'm not taking that away. That's part of business, right? But you're running a business so other people can do the work to provide service for a client, and you control the outcome and the responsibility that goes along with it, not the hard work. I'm going to really work on changing this over this year because I feel like a lot of people are still building jobs for themselves. They're not building businesses that can run without them. Because you're inconsistent. For whatever reason, you're going to be inconsistent. But guess what's not inconsistent? A group of people. Some days I'm sick. Some days I'm tired. Some days I hurt myself. Some days my daughter may hurt herself. But my company still has to run. And I don't get to tell clients, I'm not feeling good today. But when you build, and in the beginning, that's what it is. It's not to shame you. But you want to get to the point that if you're going to get the higher you climb in competition, that'll kill you. Go ahead, Kaja. Get somebody pass Kaja a microphone, please.
I feel like this might have come up before, but I'm not clear on the answer. How are you applying that to things like you can't, it seems like that's applicable to a certain kind of business. If you are writing or if you are producing something, you can't do that.
Actually,
So-
writers don't write after a while. They grow, like if you, like for example, great writers, like for example, Gianni Versace don't design their clothes. He doesn't, he's been, Ralph Lauren ain't designing shit. Like, you know, like Polo, like you can start it. We're not talking about the starting process, right? As you scale it, the goal is to scale it where your team is producing your quality that you hold the standards on because you're controlling the outcome. See, the key word, you can still control the outcome. You're not controlling everyday work. So a group of writers can come together and put together pieces that you oversee and go, yeah, that's feeling like the stuff I would want. This is where I want to feel. Okay, we're landing there. All right, let's see what you're doing. And your team is helping producing it, right? If you look at even like hip-hop artists don't even write their own rhymes no more. Right? Like they got ghostwriters all over the place. So what I'm saying is like even these jobs that seem like they were a single person, as you scale them to more people, it's like, okay, for example, let's say, Kaja, you were cooking your amazing cake, right? Well, that works if it's just this room was buying your cakes, right? But let's get 10 of these rooms buying your cake. Kaja can't keep up with that shit. That's going to destroy Kaja's life. Kaja wants to sleep. Kaja wants to take vacation. Kaja's making money. Kaja wants to do other shit that's important to Kaja. And now your business becomes the enemy of Kaja. So in order for Kaja to have domain over her business, Kaja's going to have to outsource a lot of stuff so Kaja can be gone for a week, a month, a year if she fucking wants to.
So let me clarify, because I think maybe I didn't explain it right. One of my friends, she works in that space where she lives as a digital nomad. So she is a freelance travel writer. She writes for a number of different publications, which is why she travels as her full-time job, because she's writing for all of these different things. But she has to write it. There's no person to... So she's running her own business. She's getting paid for what she's doing. She has business, B2B relationships with all of these different outlets that she writes for, but she has to do it.
She's in her stages. Go ahead. She's in her stages.
That's her. That's her reality. So where she at isn't necessarily scalable. You're gonna reach a point where, if that's her life right now, she's capped out. She's no different than a barber. She's no different than a barber who has a station, and if they get wildly popular, there's only so many hours in a day. So the only way she can scale is now she charges more for her writing, but she can't write anymore. So that reality, if it hasn't set in already, is gonna set in. You can only cut so many heads a day. You can only write so much to so many publications a day. You can only be the only painter. Like those are limiting. Now scalability says, what can I do to duplicate myself in a way that I can teach the system, I can teach my processes, I can teach how I think the best way I can, and I can bring people in that when they produce, it feels like me because I created the system. It doesn't have to be 100%, but it still feels like me. So maybe she changes her name to a brand at some point, or maybe she does write it, but she hires people to create rough drafts first and gets to a middle stage to where all she now does is tweak it, change it, and sign her name at the bottom. So now she's scalable versus being stuck.
Just real quick, I know somebody who did exactly that. She started as a lifestyle writer for Black travel folks, and then she built a brand called Travel Noir, and she outsourced all that, and then she ended up selling the whole business. But it started from her doing what your friend was doing, and then she did exactly what Court was saying. She just found other writers, other people in the genre, built the platform, sold it.
When I first started Hope, me and Nana had a conversation back there, and he was like, hey, who does your designs? I said, me. He's like, well, why can't anybody else do it? Because they ain't me. Shit. I'm the rawest in this shit. That's not scalable. It's weak. Because what happens is as your business grows. So the goal is to be replaceable, to be
all the time.
You're measured at this point on how well you can stamp your brand, your system, the styles, the designs to where people think you did it, but in actually you built a system that replicates what customers want.
Let me say something real quick before we go. Also, Kaja, there is there's two things. One is that if the company still depends on you, you're the limitation of the growth. I mean that, like, for example, if somebody in here can say they're the greatest that can ever be, like there's nothing can ever come greater than me. Like I am the God of whatever I'm doing. And if God created an angel, it would have a challenge fucking with me, right? Then maybe that's a different conversation and I would approach this strategy totally different. Because once again, there's billions of strategies out there. There's no solid one. But what you find is when you're the number one person, remember the principle of emergence? Emergence is when a group of people get together who's diverse and work on something, they produce something better than all the individuals within the group. You want to get your product that you're working on to be a product of emergence more than a product of you. And if it's a product of you, you're the limitation. Now, there's another experience on the other side. And I'm here to tell you because I'm climbing to the other side now. When you have a company that's producing a product and service that you're not doing the work, but you're the author of, it's another human experience waiting on you that you don't, like, once you experience it, you're like, this is what it feels like? Like, and the more you climb, the more you become part of politics. I mean, that government starts to connect to you as you start to grow higher and higher and higher, right? So now you're part of making decisions about society, but you didn't think when you first was like, whatever you were doing, you would go from becoming really, really talented to a point, the danger of being burned out too. That's the other thing that happens when you don't change it, you hit the burnout point. But you convert to the team running it, and then if that starts to scale, city starts to talk to you. Hey, and then there's also requirements and laws that hit you that didn't hit you before. Requirements to stay in business. And all that starts to become where now you're part of the fibers of the community just because you're running a business alone. You're almost like almost a natural born activist after you hit a certain point in business because now you're participating in the impacts of other people's lives while you're running and growing so that you're trying to grow. Go ahead.
When you guys was first like kind of separating yourself from being like the first contact when it comes to your clients, like did you guys deal with any friction with that? Like was it a quick process or it took like a year because you kept going back like, nah, let me actually respond? Because I kind of feel like how court used to feel like, well, nobody's gonna know what to say, like how I'm gonna say it or how it should be said. So it halts me from like really getting somebody to take over that aspect.
First of all, thank you. I know, some reason I didn't even know her hand was raised, and I just knew her hand should be raised after yours. I don't know she was always like this. So real quick, okay, couple things. One, let me address that from. This is a dope ass dialogue, and we might just stay on this last question. Kasha, thank you for this. This is a dope ass dialogue. First thing is first. Is the egotistical challenge for you is going to be painful because your value, when he says pull your value away from your business, that's the case where your value is going to kill you because in your brain you're going, well, you know what? If I leave the business, who am I? If I'm no longer the front line, who am I? Like you built your ego, you don't realize how much you're building your ego up on your wins, and you start to quietly, invisible, start to connect your value to your wins. So then to walk away from all that value that you built up, that you compounded, that you stacked, your brain is already going, I don't know, bro. They walk in here, they literally ask for my name, baby. They wearing shirts with my name on it. Look at him, Corey Smith. Like that's not some dude in space, that's him, right? And so when you rocking that all day long, that shit, if you're not practicing the art of separating it, it's connected. So if you ain't been practicing keeping it separated, it's connected. So what I see most entrepreneurs go through is first their status, ego, self-value is almost like saying, I'm gonna remove all that from you. That's what their brain feels like. And a lot of them, it's the hardest shit for them to go through. Number two, the reason your staff is not handling stuff right, because you're not running your business. You still have the staff supporting you as a hero. Once you start getting to the point that I'm going to empower the people around me to be better than me, and you drive the business, and as well as you start anointing them to the clients to be the better solution than you, like literally you're going to have to shrink yourself to rise them up, to realize that when a company grows, it really grows you. Mm-hmm. But you're going to have to surrender that space, that status space, that value space, that popularity. I've been in my own office and somebody go, yo, you work here? I go, yeah. I'm like, oh, what the hell are you talking to? You know who I am? Like, that's the cost of it, right? But the ownership and the growth that you will experience from it is something else, bro. It's something totally, it ain't that shit. I'm coming from a freelancer role. That money is poverty compared to the money I'm making over here. The kind of checks that come through 510 Media sometimes make me stop breathing for a few minutes, right? And it's like, but that's because I'm building a system, and that system can go way beyond my childhood imagination of wealth. Mm-hmm. But you are already limited, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, even when you see athletes, okay, think about this. How many athletes, how rare is it for a human being to become popular and get paid their whole life on that popularity? It's fucking almost it's so rare. You could name like a few people who like went from playing the sport or being an actress or actor or actress, and they're now just as popular. They're still making that kind of money in the 60s, 70s, 80s. A lot of times you hear about cats in the 60s, 70s, 80s, they broke. Mm-hmm. Businesses, when you run that business correctly and you know how to run your money correctly, you move into your life is getting better as you get older. Mm-hmm. And so what I'm trying to explain to you is that it is a psychological pain point to go through the conversion of giving up your status, detaching your value, and also developing system thinking over hero thinking. Meaning that don't try to find another hero to replace you. Create a system that's better than you.
Hey, I'll tell you what. I'll give you a couple things that I did. Because there's an education that has to go on both sides. Because that heroism is also embedded in your customers. They mess with Darren because Darren the best. Kaja was telling me the last time we was here, like, boo, Darren, he made me look like a superstar. So the name Darren is what people associate with the best. So it's going to be a hell of a time telling people that John is going to be doing your photograph, your pictures. See, you see that already? I don't want John. I want So I had the same thing happen on the Courtsmith side. I want you doing it. And so I hired somebody named Martin, and there's a process that you have to go through. And I would even lie sometimes. I would say, hey, Martin. I just hired a dude named Martin. He's crazy. He's way better than me. He's better than me. And and at the time, Martin was trash. But what I did was I wrote down my secret sauce, my blueprint, as much as I could that was in my head, and we would just spar, design something for me with this blueprint. Here's the secret sauce, design. Nope, that's not it. That's not it. That's it. That's not it. And we would spar until I got him about 70%, 75%. Then I tell the customers, why is Martin on my thing? Why am I getting a thing named Martin? No, I'm standing next to Martin this whole time. We're designing it together, and it gets my final check. So don't worry about it. I'm with Martin on these designs, even though I knew he was ready and I wouldn't even trip. I just say, Martin, before you send it to customers, send it to me. And so over time, it became, hey, I want Martin. Yeah, over time, Martin's the man. And I would laugh because Martin became that dude in the office, the best designer that people ever seen, and it was on purpose. But you have to you're going to have to carry your customers over slowly.
And
started changing around the language when people do hit me. And I have sent out other people before on jobs, and they had asked oh, are you coming? I'm like, oh, nah. And it's like, oh, okay. And I can tell it's a little
pump them up.
Yeah, no, I did. Yeah, I told them no, everything is cool, whatever. And we still perform well.
But they also have to train them so well
that
they give customer experiences that you couldn't provide by yourself. That's one. Mm-hmm. Two is you want to get to the point where it's not even about Martin no more. It's about Court Smith people are cold-blooded. That's it. Like 510 Media has moved from Danielle to the design team. It's hella tight. That's why I say this year we're going to teach you systems. That's going to help you a lot, because once you learn how to build a system, you learn to get away from. You want to destroy all hero talk. You won't even destroy hero talk internally. Let me tell you what happens with hero talk. Heroes will hold you hostage at some point. Because if that hero quits, oh my God, right? And how fast can you make another hero? You can't. But if you can build a system, like if you can start breaking down what is being done and have two people do what one person used to do, where you can almost replace those people quickly, now that system can keep running. And if somebody gets sick, somebody get an attitude, that's just going to be, you can keep it moving, right? And you have to, this is how 510 Media shows up. This is how we move. Monday I came to work and I was actually very proud of Tennille. And I told Sean this the other day. Tennille was doing a training exercise with the team around certain principles, right? Those principles, because I told you we're moving to strong systems, right? And the things that Tennille was training the team, like every time somebody has a touch point with the company, everybody in the company is giving the customers this emotional touch point. Now 510 Media as a company becomes an experience as opposed to Nana's experience. Mashawn was, Danielle, nah, we're not doing that. Tennille, no, we're not doing that. 510 Media needs to be, anybody that's part of our team is being trained. Just like when you go to Chick-fil-A. Did you go to Chick-fil-A and be like, I need to find that person who helped me at the last Chick-fil-A. You go to almost any Chick-fil-A, they're going to give you that Chick-fil-A experience. And Chick-fil-A spends a lot of time making sure that that system takes kids off the street in high school and make them have a consistent human experience. It doesn't mean that the people are not valuable, but what you realize that your value collaborating with this person through this diverse collaboration allows you to have a value that's greater than any individual on this team. And so you got to get that system where that system can provide a service for your customer that you could have never done by yourself. Like when somebody walks into 510 Media, and they're doing business with it, the combination of Danielle, Tennille, Mashama, Sean, James, Sydney, Scott, these people come together and provide experience. None of them could have never done that shit. I think I would have sweated blood to do some shit they've done as a team, right? And so when you can see how your team becomes greater than you, it changes your cost. It changes the customer that you target. It changes the experience. And now people are saying, I'm going to 510 Media. 510 Media. They're not saying, people don't say my name no more. Every once in a while, somebody from Legacy will come up and be like, no, please. I'm like, hey, listen. No, it's just, hey, player. Hey, right? Shakina, you have something you want to say?
Yeah. To what Darren was saying, I started thinking about like, the level of ownership that you have to have over your company before you can hand it off so that you can let go. Because I think that sometimes, like, in order to even develop a system, do you really know what makes your company run? Is it like repeatable? Is it a process? Is it scalable? Do you even have a business, or are you just a fancy contractor? Is it something that can grow? And like, I think for me, I really started having a company when I moved to my second location, because I had a lot of unrepeatable processes that were completely dependent upon the Shakina charm. And I'm good at my job. I'm highly recommended and I have a long retention rate, but I was the massive limit to my company. So if there was a slowdown, it was on me to pick up more hours. If somebody got mad, I had to figure out what to do. If somebody, like, it was always like every problem, every solution, every idea came through me. And I was so compromised because of it, because I only knew what I knew. And so then it was funny because then I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna dig in on skills and I'm gonna become the best trainer. I'm gonna get a new certification every year. And my staff will tell you, like, I'm really serious about my education, but I got so over-vested in skills. So I was like, well, I got 9 certifications and I know my stuff and we could talk about anything. Then I started realizing that, like, I was subsidizing because I was over investing in skills and I was making myself too important. And so then it went from like not having ownership to over investing in an area to then realizing I had to like actually know what was important and how to even understand what was the thing that was working and was it repeatable, and then could I teach that to somebody, and then could I make myself unimportant in that process, and could I make myself small in that process so that then I could remove the Shekinah effect and be like, okay, if Annette does it, if Tish does it, if Polly does it, the person is going to fall in love with them because there's a pinpoint system, as opposed to I like this person.
Well,
and I've
here's the thing,
built
too.
that.
But what you can do, Darren and Shekinah, in this area is, you know what standard the company needs to come up to because of your experience. Your skills do allow you to have right, what the quality of the product needs to be. And the goal is to get the product not to your standard, to where you were, to get it to the point where you can't compete, right? Matter of fact, going to another point you said real quick, then I'll just read this and we're gonna close it out on this last slide. Did you realize that, why does a lot of investors make you stop selling so many variations of your service and products? Because you can't systematize it. I had a student in this class got pissed off at me. I'm talking about beyond pissed off, because I was like, yo, you got too many damn products. You just got too many. And they got really mad at me, like as if I was just trying to shrink them and devalue them. And I was trying to explain to them, like, you can't scale that many products. Once you scale, you can add products later on, but when you first start, you gotta develop systems. And systems, the more you can simplify your company and provide what customers need. Like I have a young man right now, he makes these amazing high fiber cupcakes, right? They're hella good, like, of course, do the same thing. And this kid, low sugar, high fiber, they taste fucking amazing, right? Carrot cakes. And his mother's like, what else should he make? No, just a carrot cake. Just saturate the market, build your system, and then once the system is running strong, it's easy to add other things to the system once the system is up and running. But if he started having too many different things, he's trapping his or her, you will trap yourself in a worker's role. Okay, let's read this real quick because I want to get into skill development versus entrepreneur development. So skill development, this is stuff that we've heard in our community. Skill development first.
How do I do this better? Focus on execution quality, improves employability, low risk, low uncertainty, success equals competence.
So the more you know, the more successful you'll become. How many of us have been victim to that? I mean, come on, I know I was. Like this shit's talking to me. This is where I used to be. I know this stuff. Like one thing about teaching this class is that I'm everybody that I've taught. I even understand when you get mad at me, because I got mad at my mentor. I used to call him a sellout every time. He ain't no motherfucking sellout. Every time I see him now, I give him a hug. He's like, stop. He tells me, stop. You're doing too much. Now, this is where your mind should be at. Go ahead. Go into the builder's mindset.
Entrepreneurs development.
Hold on, let the train get a little bit. We back to the train for a few more weeks, y'all. What's up, y'all? Okay, so entrepreneurs, this is how we think about the same stuff. Go ahead.
What should exist that doesn't?
So what should exist that doesn't? Go ahead.
Focus on decision making under uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
Improves leverage and agency.
So stop. That one right there, I can't wait to teach you guys that. When you're doing the work every day, these things you're assuming are just falling in place. They're not. Positioning, leverage, agency. You can bust your ass, make just enough to pay your bills, and never compete because you didn't gain agency and leverage. Leverage is where does your business need? How does your business need to show that it has more leverage than competitors so it has a bigger chunk of the profits? How do you gain more agency where you control the industry as opposed to you just happen to be borrowing a space in the industry? Oh, when I get into deeper teaching this in techniques and strategy, you're gonna realize this requires so much thought that if you're working every day and you're busy, you're not managing these things. Y'all heard It's All Good Bakery closed, right? Did y'all see the closure before it happened? And could you tell? It's All Good Bakery closed, right? Just like Bake Sale Betty's. Can you see the closure before it happens? You know what they're missing? Leverage. I have no complaints about the people. But sometimes when you're too busy, you're not managing how do you gain leverage. So Bake Sale Betty opened, Cholita Linda's opened around the same era. Y'all remember those two businesses? Yep. Cholita Linda's in almost every city, and each location is getting sexier. They're controlling so much agency and leverage, it is ridiculous. Bake Sale Betty, who has just as quality product, Like literally, her business is just as good. I have no complaints about her business, but she's in there cooking a lot. She's in there busting her ass a lot, and she's losing the ability to manage leverage and agency. Trust me, this you can stay in business for a long time without leverage and agency until you're not. It's All Good Bakery should have had multiple locations, by far. Especially when they first started, they were loved. Black folks was like, when they first started, I don't know, a lot of y'all wasn't even like eating back then, or might have been babies or kids. I even have employees born in 1998. I still don't understand it. But anyway, boys, this. You might not understand what what It's All Good Bakery was to us. But when it first started, it was like God gave us a bakery. And everybody was going, I went there so many different times. It was just a beautiful story, this totality. They were great people. Like, they were real Oakland. If you met them, I'm not lying, they were real Oakland people. Like, when you felt when you went in there, you was going to hang out at your cousin's house and get some sweets, right? But they missed many opportunities. So a lot of times, the thing about becoming a hard worker, you're not stupid, you're not dumb, you're not flawed, you're not bad. It's the opportunities you miss. That's it. And so if you're so busy with your head down doing the work, it's those small things you're missing, especially leverage agency. Keep going.
High ambiguity, high consequence.
Somebody do me a favor. Grab your AI.
What you need?
Put that sentence in AI and ask, what does it mean? I need somebody to read that back to me. Because I want y'all to see how powerful that fucking is. I want you to have ownership. I don't want you to listen to any words. Because before you put in AI, does anybody know what that meant? Okay, good. Open up AI and somebody read that and say, what does that mean? As an entrepreneur, what does that mean? When somebody have an answer, grab a microphone and read it back to me.
High ambiguity, high consistency usually means the message or situation is unclear. They're missing info, multiple possible interpretations, or no obvious right explanation. High consistency, even though it's unclear, the pattern stays the same. You keep seeing the same behavior, results repeatedly across time, people, or situations. So together, I can't fully explain it, but it reliably happens.
Anybody else want to add? Anybody else have anything different in their AI? Go ahead. Grab your AI. Just grab a microphone. Somebody grab a microphone.
Right here next to you.
There you go. Press it. There you go.
High ambiguity, high consequence. Where'd it go? It means we're building in uncertainty while staying anchored in our values. We're making decisions without clear outcomes, stable income, or guaranteed timelines, but we still choose integrity, responsibility, and long-term thinking over shortcuts.
You understand what the fuck that is? You remember back in the days when I first started teaching Hope, I said, you're going to walk down through this tunnel and you won't see where the light is, but you got to keep walking? High ambiguity. You don't know what the fuck's happening. But can you be consistent? Business is good, business is bad, business is slow. If one person walks that door, are you consistent? How are you moving when you don't know where you're going? How are you upholding values? How are you flowing? How's your standards? Like, do you understand that? When you're a worker, that drops tremendously. Imagine working hella hard and nothing happens. Doing hella marketing, nothing happens. You did hella paperwork, worked hella plans, ain't nobody came through the door. Can you still do this shit? Can you keep reading the books you need to read and study and keep improving your products and services even though your business is not growing? Go ahead.
So how are you stacking that on what we have historically said in this class of if it ain't working, toss it?
So what?
If it's not working, toss it. Because those two things seem incongruent. I know they fit some way together, but I'm just not clear on how they fit.
There is ways of measuring if something's working. It's not absolute ambiguity. I mean, like you just cannot say anything. So for example, if I'm in front of my house and I'm selling lemons and I have two neighbors and they don't never buy my lemons, is it because you got to realize that business, here's a challenge of business, it's a psychological challenge. A lot of times we think the world's going to love it and we never checked in with the world. We never ask the world shit. They're gonna love this. They're gonna love this, right? No one can tell you what is a good business or bad business, but if you're not doing proper testing and measuring the testing process, then you don't know, nor does, like at this point, you're just burning your ego. You're not burning resources. So a lot of times, for example, photography, we knew people needed photography. Was he good when he first started? Probably not, right? But did he continue to practice? Because the market was indicating there's a market there. They're just not biting your hook. There's fish in the water, but they're not just biting your hook. There's something wrong with your hook, baby. Keep playing with your hook. But don't keep throwing the same hook on the same string. I mean, poles, pings, hook, string, whatever. Don't keep throwing the same hook in the water and realize, damn it, I can't catch. She just falls me. but just like you keep throwing the hook in the water and there's nothing happening, then adjust the hook. It doesn't mean the industry is wrong. Doesn't mean what you're doing is absolutely wrong, but it's something that's not catching. It's not clicking. And you'll see the click. And sometimes the click will happen. It's almost like, it's the thing where you get a little click and then you got to adjust again, get a little click, and then sometimes you'll over adjust and adjust back. And that's what business is, testing, hypothesis testing. But if you double down on the exact same patterns over and over and over and the signal doesn't match the work that you're doubling down on, you have to say, wait, what are we doing here? Why are you not shifting, tweaking? And it might be something there as an industry, but you're not in alignment.
Also, too, that's why community is so important, because you need reference. So if you, as an entrepreneur, depending on your market, depending on what you are entrepreneuring, if you say, man, I want to be a great actor, so, it's crazy, it sucks that I got to be a waitress at this restaurant. But ask all the actors who have made it what they did until they got there. They say, oh, I waitress too. Like, what you doing is normal. Or if you say, man, it's taking me, I've been going at this particular thing for 4 years, in that industry, in the community, they're gonna look at you crazy, like, yeah, that's normal. But do you have the perseverance to continue down that path? Now, if you say, hey, I've been trying to bust raps for 20 years.
Okay.
And my hairline is hella pushed back now. I'm old. Like, yeah, you fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Because communities, it's a young person's game, and you got to know the window that you're in. So if you just got head down and you busting raps with the same flow you had when you started with, and you never improved, you've never adjusted, you never got feedback from people and say, hey, what do you think about this? Then you're gonna be stuck for 20 years. Because two things: community feedback and progress is going to change you, and you're going to get there. And then slowly you'll change your flow, your cadence. You're going to get better because the feedback loop's going to tell you, and you're going to find in the audience. But every entrepreneurial pocket has incubation time, just like every plant has plant time. So you plant a particular seed and it won't sprout for 2 years. Versus, you plant a orange seed and it may sprout in 6 months. It depends on the cadence and the rhythm of the particular venture.
So I'll give you another example, just tie it to workout. If you get trained by the best trainer in the world, right? And they train you for a week, you're gonna say, it ain't working. Am I lying? You won't see any results. You got to be able to handle the consistency of sticking with it to get the results that's going to happen. And it might be a year to 2 years, in some cases 4 years out, right? And so as opposed to the guy who goes in the gym and he never curls over 5 pounds, right? The women are looking at him mad as hell, talking about, I wish he'd just give us our weight back, right? And he over there sweating with 5 pounds, making noises, right? Okay, we know that's not working, son. There's a lot of reasons we know that's not working, because there's a lot of historical data we can look at and go, 5 pounds on a 200-some-odd-pound man is called aerobics. Let's just call it what it is. So if you're trying to get buff with that 5 pounds, you're not going to achieve it. And here's a cool part. I'm doing this because this is what entrepreneurs do all the time, because we get passionate, and passion creates these funny stories. A trainer could walk in the room and be like, hey, mister, you're not going to get buff with these 5 pounds. I believe it, and God told me, and you are not going to tell me, okay? Right? And they start pouring money. Anybody hella 5 pound weights at that? You go to the house, they have a wall full of 5 pound weights, and you're like, what the hell you doing? I believe it, bruh. I'm telling you, this shit gonna work. And everybody looking at him, and because that person's so defensive, please don't. I'm not making a connection. So that person's so defensive. This happens all the time in business. All your friends are going, good job. Oh, keep going, baby. It's good. Because they're saying, I don't want to pay the cost of going against you, so fuck it. It's great. If you love it, I like it. If you like it, I love it. That's what happens with defensive people. Defensive people don't realize that most people around them are lying to them because they don't feel like dealing with them, right? They like you for other reasons, but they definitely not about to challenge your passion. So fuck it, you cool. So what entrepreneurs have to intentionally do, because we know that's human, we intentionally have to make ourselves feel like, what the fuck you said to me? And say, explain it, tell me more. Because once I threaten that pipeline, I know you're no longer valuable to me as a resource to tell me the truth. And I need, even if you wrong 9 times out of 10, I need that 10th time when you're right to be right. And so the reality is that this game is so weird how it works because it's not a elementary math. There's so many variables that's intersecting to make this stuff work. Lastly, ChatGPT. Just to close the class out, type in success equal judgment. As an entrepreneur, why does success equal judgment? I want you guys to get used to this shit. So when you're out there in the streets, start pulling bring that noise down some. And then whoever gets the answer, grab a microphone.
Because in entrepreneurship, success is visible, and visibility automatically invites people to evaluate you, often loudly and unfairly. Here's what's really going on. Success creates a scoreboard: revenue, followers, growth, partnerships. People treat your progress like proof of your character, intelligence, or worthiness, not just proof your strategy worked. People project their insecurities. Your wins can remind someone of what they haven't done yet. So judgment becomes a copying mechanism. It's luck and she changed. Must be nice. She's doing too much.
Your AI talks so much.
I know. It's because it's my
get one of the
AI.
AIs who don't talk so much. Because your AI feels undervalued. Go ahead. Shit.
Now this one's short. Success equals judgment as an entrepreneur because there's no script, only decisions. Every outcome is the compound result of how well you judge people, timing, risk, priorities, and when to move or wait with incomplete information. The better your judgment under pressure and uncertainty, the more consistently your decisions stack in your favor, and that's what we call success.
Whoa. Your AI would never date that AI. He'd be like, wrap it up. Okay, go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
It said because success changes your position in the social hierarchy, and humans are deeply sensitive to hierarchy.
Go ahead. Brandon? If the light's on, you good. Yeah.
Okay. This one says most of society is built around school to job to stability to retirement. Entrepreneurs challenge that story. When you succeed, it quietly asks others, is the path I chose the only option? Some feel inspired, others feel threatened. Judgment is the defense mechanism.
Oh, that's kind of weird. Okay. Go ahead. Yep, so.
Mine said,
Okay, go ahead.
people default to the only thing they can observe, the outcome. If it worked, good judgment. If it failed, bad judgment.
Is the what? Judgment is the what?
You said what?
You said judgment is the what? The last part you said?
It said people default to the only thing they can observe, the outcome. So if it worked, good judgment. If it failed, bad judgment. So essentially, they're not seeing all the decision making that went behind it.
That's well said. Go ahead, yep, sir.
I'm just going to give y'all, this is my free AI. I'm not even using my paid one.
You said this is what?
I think my free one's got.
Oh, use your free AI, okay.
It's going to give pimp, it's going to speak like a pimp.
Yeah, say it, baby, this is what it is. Go ahead, player. This is what you said.
In the context of the builder logic shown in your image, success equals judgment means that your value isn't measured by how well you follow instructions, but by the quality of the decisions you make when there are no clear right answers.
Woo! That's the one. That's the one. That's the one, right? Hey, look here. I don't know. That's shit trying to get you to pay. That's the best answer. That is the best answer. Read that one more time. That's the best. Hear this out real quick and we're going home on this.
It says, in the context of the builder logic shown in the image, success equals judgment means that your value isn't measured by how well you follow instructions, but by the quality of the decisions you make when there are no clear right answers.
Can I just say how crazy it is that we're all using AI and most of us have paid AI,
I'm gonna get into that
but
why.
based on how you've trained it or your biases, we all have completely different answers.
So what happens is you're
AI is not
also
equal.
training AI to adjust to your biases, and you got to learn how to train. We'll get into how to train your AI, because if you don't learn how to train your AI correctly, like I tell my AI, do not be nice to me, and try at all times. If my ideas or the things I'm working on have counter arguments, please share those counter arguments with me, because your job is not to make me feel right or to validate my position, but to challenge me and to improve my insights.
You know, one trick I did use is I took a picture of the whole slide and put it in, and then just asked it to define success versus success equals judgment. So it had the whole context, and that's going to really help it out.
Yeah, also too, that's another thing too, is the more you talk to AI in your area, the AI will adjust to your contextual conversation. If I grab my AI, where's my phone? Watch this. I'm just show you something real quick. This is crazy. Like, show you how much my AI is adjusted to me. Okay. By the way, I need to ask you a question. Can you tell me, what do you know about me and what do I do?
Sure, I know a good bit about what you do because we've chatted before. You're Nana Kofi, and you co-founded 510 Media, which is a marketing and branding firm, and you also run the 510 Media Hope Foundation. That foundation is all about supporting African-American entrepreneurs and addressing some of the historical challenges they face. And I know you like to bring in a lot of behavioral science and systems thinking into the mix, which is really cool. So yeah, that's the gist of what I know.
Literally. So you know what that does? It makes it more my assistant, because it understands the journey I'm on, because I'm not trying to solve all problems. Human beings and culture is so big. Oh my God, it's so big. And in business, our goal is to target. So a lot of times when you're targeting, you want AI to support your targeting methodologies and your targeting strategies, not generic. Like Shakina's was really broad. So she has to get it closer to targeting and the way she thinks and she processes. And I'm not sure why it's not. We can get into that in future classes, because we're going to practice how to really get our AI to become your assistant, but also to introduce counter ideas. You don't want an AI that's just trying to affirm your position and validate your arguments. You want an AI to expose you to other ways of thinking, other ways of seeing things. It's absolutely critical. So with that being said, we're going to close down now. We'll pick up where we left off. When we get back, we're going to kind of have a different structure, because Court's going to take the first part and I'll do the second part next month. But let's jump into the podcast. It's class next week. Jump into the podcast. The conversation of the class will start off with a discussion with the podcast, and then Court's going to take over and start the first half of class. Exercise is going to get more and more intense. This is going to be, like I said, we're turning the cameras down. This is for the Hope members only. And the goal is, and I want you guys to pay attention to your growth. And we'll have check-ins. We'll have some stuff that we can check in every once in a while. The goal is to improve your thinking, improve your finance by end of the year by all means. And I don't care if it's everybody. It's not about everybody hitting the same marker. It's about growth from where you're at, right? So if I get everybody to grow 10, 20% from where they're at, we won. Even if somebody like Kaja's now got 20 million and somebody else like Shakina has 200,000, it doesn't matter. We're not talking about their actual money. What we're actually talking about is how much did they grow relative to their resources, and also how much do they actually, how much have they improved their thinking? Because no class can guarantee recipes of success. But if a class can help you improve your thinking, you can have agency and drive towards your own success. Like, I can't give you success. Nobody can. And everybody who tells you that, they pimping. They pimping since pimping since pimping since pimping. You understand me? But really, your personal growth comes from your enhanced thinking. And I promise you, this year, my goal is to make the way you used to think from a worker logic to move you into a full builder's logic. And trust me, when you see it, You're not going to be able to move with the crowd. A lot of times, a lot of reasons we run from risk is because we're running towards social proof. And once you learn to walk a separate path, you'll realize that you will no longer be part of social proof. Entrepreneurs, you're not going to be popular like that. You'll be popular for your resources probably. People will love to talk to you for success. You'll work in the neighborhoods. You'll have mentees. People going to walk around and follow you. But you don't expect to follow popular online trends and be good in this game. It's not what we're doing here. This year was my best financial year since pre-COVID. Personally, my best year. And it was really boring. It was really fucking boring. A lot of small shit was managed all the time. A lot of judgments, a lot of invisible judgment that if I shared it with you, you'd be like, wrap it up. It's my best year. So with that being said, anything you want to say close out with?
Peace.
This motherfucker hella cool. All right, have a good night.